Super Dirt Week. The biggest races of the year await those good enough and lucky enough to make the grade. But there's the problem. Getting here was easy compared to making the select field. Today, over 100 race cars will do battle for a mere 40 starting positions in the Phase 300. And for many, not making the race today is not an option. It's qualifying day at Super Dirt Week, and it's live on Rush Hour.
Dirt tracking, born in the cornfields and lower 40s of rural America. Dirt tracking, the cornerstone of racing. The early barnstormers put it all on the line to satisfy their thirst for speed. Now, their great-grandchildren carry the torch with the same spirit and thirst. 700 horsepower rips the earth. For 1 hour, nothing else matters. It'll raise the hair on the back of your neck. Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse for Dirt Modified Racing's annual Spectacle of Speed, Super Dirt Week 26. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan. Welcome to a very special Rush Hour. Today, we look as time permits to bring you as many as 5 20-lap qualifying races for this weekend's extravaganza. The first 3 big block modified qualifiers for the world's richest dirt modified race, the Phase 300, which will be run right here at the fairgrounds come Sunday. Joining me is Dirt Motorsports racing analyst Gary Montgomery. And Gary, this is a very, very unique day in racing.
It certainly is. It's qualifying day, but it's a qualifying day like no other. There'll be 5 races, as you mentioned. We have 119 cars that have signed in and attempted to qualify via time trials for the Phase 300, 43 for the prolonged 358 race. Now, only 9 of the 119 are qualified. The others have to do it in today's qualifying races. The 47 sportsman cars, they are all qualified. They're merely racing for starting position. So it's a complicated day. We'll get into it as the day progresses, but it is like no other qualifying day here for Super Dirt Week.
Also very unique, Gary, is the fact that we see multiple entries.
Absolutely. A number of drivers have brought 4 and 5 cars. In fact, Brett Hearn and Danny Johnson are going to run in 4 of the 5 qualifying races. Now, that may not seem fair. Many people think it isn't, but there's money involved. $12,000 for each of the big block modified races and $5,000 for the small block races. So they're here for money, and again, they'll take the best finishes and the best time trial activity for their lineups in the races on Saturday and Sunday.
And, of course, the object is to go as fast as you possibly can. And there are some individuals who always seem to be fast come Super Dirt Week. One racer is down in the pits with our cowboy, Paul Small.
And that racer would be Canadian Joe Plazik, who is the fast timer in yesterday's time trials. And Joe, this car has been incredibly quick over the past couple of days, but it's been like the you and Brett show. You keep trading off fast times around here.
How you doing there? I can't tell what you're saying.
Joe having a little hard time hearing us here as they have fired the engines. Joe, what's the goal for today? How much do you intend to be able to learn by running one of these qualifying races?
Well, we can tell what the tires are going to do, what kind of fuel mileage we're going to get, a bunch of things like that. It doesn't really tell us a lot for Sunday because the track keeps changing all week. By Sunday, this place will pick up a lot more speed, probably like a half a second more than today.
How much attention are you paying to what you're doing versus what the other guys are doing here this week?
What's that again, Cowboy?
How much attention are you paying to what you're doing versus what some of the other guys like Brett Hearn have been doing this week?
Well, we try to race our own race and just do what we got to do. Brett's been doing the same thing, I think, because he's been real fast too. So we'll just keep on what we're doing. I think Brett will probably keep on doing what he's doing. Hopefully on Sunday it'll all come out in the end.
That's the story from the front of the field with pole sitter Joe Plazik. But there are a lot of guys in this race further back in the field trying to make the big dance, and Andy Fusco is with one of them.
Thank you, Cowboy. You know, yeah, it's riches up there in the front rows, but it's not exactly rags in the back here. Eddie Marshall has been to Syracuse the last 16 years. He's qualified every time since 1984, but right now starting in 27th position. What do you do to get this car in the field?
Got to take quite a few chances here. The car felt good this morning. We got some good running cars right in front of us. So the hole's open. We got to fill them and get there as quickly as we can, and hope we get a few breaks that come our way.
When you come from the back to the front, track conditions are important. What's it like out there?
Yeah, the track has been in excellent shape this week, probably the best it's ever been. It's a little bit narrow right now, unfortunately, being in the first race. The groove isn't that wide, but hopefully it's wide enough.
For guys like Eddie Marshall, the last thing they want to be doing is watching this race on television Sunday. He's going to have to go like a son of a gun. We'll see the first heat here at Syracuse right after this.
Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by Eckerd. It's right at Eckerd. Prolonged Super Lubricant. Hauser Brothers Mechanical Contractor. Easy Care Extended Service Contract. Budweiser, the king of beer. Briosky, the official antacid of dirt. Hoosier Racing Tires.
We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse for Super Dirt Week 26. And our first race, the Easy Care and Page Transportation Qualifier for the Phase 300. We have an absolutely beautiful day for racing and the promise of a great weekend weather-wise. Gary Montgomery?
It's like weather like I can't remember ever in the history of Super Dirt Week. It's been great all week. No rain, no threat of rain. It's going to be a wonderful day.
We saw the race analysis, 20 laps, and we have a full field for this one. We mentioned the weather conditions, absolutely spectacular here in Syracuse, and the fans have turned out in record numbers for Super Dirt Week 26. Our temperature currently 65 degrees, the winds just enough to keep everybody happy, and mostly sunny, the forecast. How about our track description?
This is a 1 mile oval. It's flat all the way around, 1,400 feet on the straightaways. The front straightaway is wider than the back straightaway. They call the place the Moody Mile. You're about to find out why.
Rush Hour pace truck, Dodge Dakota, provided by Sam Dell Dodge, downtown Syracuse, New York. Let's take a look at the starting grid for qualifier number 1, row 1. He's so fast. Joe Plozak out of Caister Center, Ontario, and the M1 of Jimmy Horton.
In the second row on the inside, a former champion of this race is Kenny Brightwell out of Sinking Springs, Pennsylvania. He started on the pole last year. Alongside is Billy Decker in a brand new Olson car, the Pennzoil Eagle.
Third row is the 115 of Kenny Tremont and the number 10 of Randy Sherlock.
Alan Johnson, Dirt's winningest driver, actually now tied with Bob McCready for that with 265 wins. Will start next on the inside of row number 4 with a new Oldsmobile engine in his Bicknell car, and alongside will be the Hurricane Steve Payne.
On to row 5. There's Bobby Varon, the number 35, in the 22G of Gil Tag.
Sixth row on the inside, Chris Moore out of Lansborough, Massachusetts. He didn't qualify for the last couple of years. He won the Hard Luck Award in each of those years. Billy Pouch is alongside. He still owns the track record for both modifieds and sprint cars here on the mile.
Last year's Phase 300 winner, then a 1 of Doug Hoffman, and the 74 of Dale Plank.
Row number 8 on the inside will be the Orange County Fair Speedway track champion Jeff Hetzler in the Reclamation car, number 33. Patty Abold, who races primarily on asphalt at Oswego and with the Silver Crown cars, is alongside.
Row 9 is the 1A of Tim Dwyer, and outside the 33 of Ray Swinart.
Row number 10 on the inside will be David Camara out of Pulteney, Vermont. Daring Dan, the stock car man, is alongside, starting 20th.
Bobby Hayes is inside row 11, and Vic Coffey is outside the 11th row.
The veteran out of Hartford, Ohio, Lou Blaney, is on the inside of row number 12, and Clyde Cox III from Flemington, New Jersey, is alongside in the Active 2 car.
On to row 13, it's Jerry Higbee and John Hewitt.
14th row on the inside will be Eddie Marshall. You heard from him just a few moments ago. His dancing partner will be Gary Tompkins out of McDougall in the Bill Trout car.
And row 15, Brian Turner and Scott Prentice. Our starting grid for heat number 1. Now we can tell you can scratch Jeff Hetzler and Scotty Prentice and add Luke Plant and Mike Perotti. Also scratch Brian Turner and add Pierre Hebert.
So the shuffling has started already.
And it's a very, very exciting and demanding time for these race drivers.
It certainly is. The guys we mentioned up front, there are 9 drivers that have qualified for Sunday's race. They've all come here, not the race today, but the race on Sunday. Part of the problem is you got to race today to get to Sunday, unless you're one of those 9 fast drivers here the past couple of days at time trials.
Our starter is Dave Farney, and the field moves into turn 3 in this Moody Mile at the New York State Fairgrounds, and the speeds are absolutely electrifying and mind-boggling in 1997. Joe Plozek and Jimmy Horton lead the field out of turn 4 down the front straightaway, and the green flag is out. The Easy Care Page Transportation Qualifier is on, and Joe Plozek takes the lead. Jimmy Horton is second. Kenny Brightville looks to fit in third.
So much for the narrow racetrack, and as Clyde Cox way out of shape up against the wall there in the Active 2 car, but he recovers and continues down the back straightaway. There you see him scrambling, dicing it inside and outside, trying to find the fast lane as they race down the back straightaway.
Billy Decker found the fast lane in turn number 2. Now he goes high in turn 4, but still is able to collect. There's a battle for the number 3 position.
It's Decker on the outside of Tremont. It looks like Decker will get the spot as they come down and cross the line. It is Decker up to 3. Tremont falls to 4. Whiteville runs in 5 as they shuffle off into turn number 1.
20-lap qualifier for Sunday's richest race on dirt, the Phase 300. And Joe Plozek is way out in front.
He's driving a car that was built in 1992. This is a high-tech program here, but this car built in 1992, patterned after an 88 car, but it is really fast. It's an Olsen car.
It's not normally a surprise when the pole sitter takes the lead and leads for the first lap or 2. Certainly no surprise for Joe Plozek, given his history this year at the fairground.
Well, this year and in prior years, as a matter of fact, he has always been quick here on the mile. He is a driver that's looking for a sweep. He won here on the 4th of July. He won here on Labor Day. And if he could win on Sunday, that's the big deal, of course. He'd have a sweep for 1997. That's what he's looking for.
One car slowed inside turn 4, heading into the pits as we pick up the action out of turn 4. And you see the Hurricane Steve Payne.
Payne and Alan Johnson racing for position. And Payne picks up the spot. Chris Moore is running up front in the Butler Buildings, car number 10, white car with some red trim on it. You'll see him running back in about the number 7 spot. There you get a shot of the separation between leader Plozek and second place runner Jimmy Horton. And then it gets tight behind Chris Moore with Steve Payne closing in.
Kind of interested. Jimmy Horton has run so smoothly all summer long in the Skoll Bandit Racing Super Dirt Series. Interested to see what he had for Plozek, as we have a car slowing in the front straightaway, and that's Kenny Brightville.
Kenny Brightville, a former champion of the Phase 300 and a pole sitter last year, pulls out of the race here on lap number, where are we? Lap number 4. Lap 4, Brightville out of the race.
So Kenny is slowing as the field goes cruising by. We pick up the action with the Hurricane and Alan Johnson.
That's Chris Moore in car 10 running in position 5. Payne is in 6. Alan Johnson is in 7. Again, we're hoping for great things for Alan with that new Oldsmobile motor. Then it's Gil Tegg and Dougie Hoffman rounds out the top 10. Bobby Barron is in car number 35 this weekend. He's running in position number 11.
We had mentioned the fact that it's a very unique day for these qualifiers on the dirt circuit, and Kenny Brightville is pulling into the pits, but he is already qualified to start 9th for Sunday's Phase 300.
That's right. 9 drivers in, as we said earlier. He is the 9th one. There we see Eddie Marshall battling with he's in the red number 98 car, the Marshall Oil car. Ray Swinehart out of Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania. That is for the final transfer position into the main event. We have 3 cars out of the race so far: Clyde Cox, Danny Johnson, and Kenny Brightville.
And the question is, does Swinehart know exactly where he stands? Well, yes, there's a spotter telling him.
He has a spotter, but we can't tell because some of these drivers may elect to run the car that they qualify in the next race or something other. So it's not a precise science here yet, but we'll try to keep you informed on how this thing unfolds.
Yeah, come Sunday for the Phase 300, it will be very precise.
Yeah, they'll certainly know by that time. There we see Dale Plank, second-generation driver out of Homer, New York, in a Smith Concrete shown out for the C Racing car. We have a car blowing up here on the front straightaway.
And into turn 1.
Yeah, a whole bunch of smoke. That's Timmy Dwyer, driver out of Gloversville, New York. He's lost an engine on the Gable Motorsports entry, and Dwyer, out of Gloversville, has a major problem.
All right, well, we are underway with race qualifier number 1, the Easy Care Page Transportation Qualifier from the New York State Fairgrounds. We are live at Super Dirt Week 26, Syracuse, New York, and our coverage will continue on Rush Hour right after this message.
Rush Hour. Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
Fairgrounds Super Dirt Week 26 and the first of our 20-lap qualifiers for Sunday's big Phase 300. And the leader in our qualifier is the pole sitter, Joe Plozek, with second place currently held by Jimmy Horton.
And Doug, I've made my first and only mistake of the weekend. Running into position number 5 is car number 10. No mistake there, but the driver, it's Randy Sherlock and not Chris Moore. So Randy Sherlock out of West Milford, Pennsylvania, the Tri-State Roofing car, running in position number 5. We've got a car.
Oh, we have a crash in between turn 1 and turn 2.
Somebody lost a motor. Billy Pouch in the Trenton Mack car is up against the wall. Billy Pouch in the Trenton Mack number 704. Up against the wall after blowing an engine and spinning in the middle of traffic. And the good news there is that apparently nobody else was seriously involved. They certainly couldn't see what was going on.
Boy, it really looked like someone else was getting collected there, but Pouch sits alone.
Yeah. They were all spinning and crashing at the same speed, I guess, so therefore not a whole lot of damage. In fact, Pouch's car is going to be pushed away. Now, there would appear they blew a motor, but
it looked like Lou Blaney was almost collected in that, but he was miraculously able to get out of it. Here's a replay, and was there contact? Boy, look at that.
Wow, that's maybe just tire smoke, because he went around after the contact with Blaney, so perhaps there's not a big problem there at all. In fact, he's trying to restart the thing. He may have a flat tire, however.
He does.
Last year, he hit the wall here in about the same spot and broke some ribs, and as a result, started the Phase 300, but then was relieved by David Blaney, and so didn't even run the race. Here's another shot of the accident.
Ooh, that's pretty heavy contact.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's up front, bent a little bit.
Yeah, the tires flattened it, but there also may be suspension damage, because I don't think you can hit the wall that hard and not bend something else up.
Let's get an update on the crash, the incident between turn 1 and turn 2 with Andy Fusco.
Thanks, Doug. I'll tell you, it looks a lot worse to you guys than I think it really is. It looks to be just a bent rim down here in the scene. I think Pouch is going to be able to get through the rest of the weekend. Good news covering that Eddie Marshall story that we talked about at the top of the show. That jingle, he got through it. Now he's the bubble car, it looks like, in the field, and Marshall should be able to make the Phase 300.
Well, Marshall is certainly like that, but Ray Swinehart, the driver out of Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania, as we said earlier, he knows what he's got to do. In fact, everybody behind Marshall knows what they got to do. That's find some speed and get around some of these guys in front of him.
Let's see what's going on with super modified star Pat Abel. Down to the pits, Cowboy Paul Small.
Well, super modified, the key word here, Doug, because the engine that's in the Abel car is their super modified engine. Normally, that's an alcohol-burning, fuel-injected big block. They converted it over to run on Sunoco racing gasoline, and they put a carburetor on the car. The problem is he's ahead of the bubble car, Eddie Marshall, and the last time the green flag was out, he had some smoke coming out of the back of that car. We'll have to keep our eyes on him.
We'll be watching the 05 of Pat Abel as the green flag flies once again. We're midway through our first 20-lap qualifier at the New York State Fairgrounds. Plozek is the leader, Horton is second, Tremont is third, and Billy Decker is fourth.
And Doug Hoffman is on the move. He made a brilliant move on the back straightaway if it was legal. I don't know, he was going, it looked like maybe a little too early, but whatever. He is on the move. He has just pulled alongside Bobby Barron, but he's high, and he almost collected the wall.
Oh, my. So what Doug Hoffman gained, he just gave back.
And the big news here is that Billy Taylor has returned from the south, and he is the crew chief this weekend for Doug Hoffman, the team that won the race last year.
You know, you had to know he couldn't stay away from this one.
Yeah, we suspected that would be the case. Bobby Barron on the inside of Gil Tegg in the battle for position. That would be for position number 8 as they race to the corner, and Barron will get the spot. Barron driving this weekend for Clint Harrell in the Council Harrell Trucking car 35 has passed Gilly Tegg and moves now up to position number 7.
On the front straightaway. Here's the action in turn 4. And swinging out of 4 down the front straight. There's last year's Phase 300 winner, Doug Hoffman.
He's trying to run down Randy Sherlock now. Here we see that. Here's.
Did you see the little puff of smoke?
I did. That was from Petty Abel's Cellular 1 car number 05. So Marshall has moved by Abel. And here is that battle for the final qualifying spot. As we see it. There's a correction. Marshall is behind.
Yeah. So we're being told that Swinehart is now the bubble car.
Right.
We haven't seen much of a battle for position up front, but further back in the pack, it's been a little bit wild.
Yeah, we kind of expected this. The leaders are trying to run away and hide, and they were the fastest cars in time trials, so no surprise that they're fastest here today. But the scramble is in the back as these drivers are trying to qualify. There's about a 15-car separation between leader Plazek and second-place runner. The third-place car, Kenny Tremont, has just pulled off the, well, not off the track, but to the top of the speedway in turn number 1. That's Tremont. He was running in position number 3, but there's a mechanical problem for the Doherty brothers. Bain Concrete, S&S Contractors car, and Kenny Tremont, the defending champion of the Prolong race, is out of it here in this qualifier.
And it's going to bring out the yellow, I would presume. He's still moving on the racetrack. No yellow yet. No yellow yet.
We've got 5 laps to go, and now the yellow flag does come out. Caution on the speedway.
Tremont is already qualified in the top 6.
Yeah, in fact, he'll start in position number 5 on Sunday. So this is a blow because it'll cost him 20. If the engine blew, it's a $25,000 investment. So.
All right, we are racing at the New York State Fairgrounds. The yellow is out for the slowed car of Kenny Tremont. Super Dirt Week 26. This is qualifying day. We'll be back after this on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
We are back at the New York State Fairgrounds. Qualifying race number 1. 3 laps to go. Now down to 2.5. And we have a new bubble car and a touch of drama.
Doug Hoffman now taking over the bubble position in the blockbuster video car number 1H. We now have 3 cars running in the top 10, numbered 10. Sherlock is in position number 4 with his 10. Blaney is 10th in his 10, and Chris Moore is 9 in his car number 10. You got that, fans? 3 cars numbered 10 in the top 10. They're all some shade of red and white.
You've got to love it. Now as for Doug Hoffman, if he loses a spot, he'll have to use a guaranteed spot for a 2nd straight year.
It didn't hurt him last year. He came from the very last starting position to win this contest. On the restart, Plazek was able to pull out about a 7 or 8 car length advantage as the white flag is in the air from starter David Farney. We've got 1 mile to settle this one.
And Plazek continues to be your race leader. Jimmy Horton is 2nd. Billy Decker is 3rd. Sherlock is a 10 scenario.
Yeah, Sherlock is 4 in his number 10, but Steve Payne is literally knocking on the rear bumper as they work out of turn number 2.
Doug Hoffman has just gotten by Sherlock in turn 1. And there's Canada Joe Plazek out of turn 4 down the front straightaway, and Joe Plazek is the winner of the Easy Care Page Transportation Qualifier at Super Dirt Week. Further action out of turn 4. There's Swinehart, the 33. Hoffman crosses the start-finish line. Somebody's engine starts to seize.
That was Petty Abel.
And again, we have our winner of our first qualifier, Joe Plazek. And what else is new? He's been fast all week, and he's been fast here at Syracuse for years. We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. Super Dirt Week's annual spectacle of speed. We'll be right back on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
He's the winningest dirt big block driver this season. 18 feature wins, and he wins the first qualifier here today at Super Dirt Week and the New York State Fairgrounds. Let's go down to Victory Lane, Cowboy Paul Small.
Joe, not a bad Friday at Dirt Week. You put a few grand in your pocket to win a race.
Well, I'll tell you what, everything's gone so good down here. It's kind of scary. You know, we had outside pole first day, and yesterday fast time, and then fast time with the small block cars. So I mean, really kind of concerned right now. Hope it just keeps up. That's all.
How much did you learn from this race?
Well, I learned it's real tough to pass. I mean, I didn't have to pass anybody, but I knew from behind me what those guys were struggling with, and the track's got some pock marks in it right now, some real small divots, and it's chattering the tires on throttle and off throttle, so it's making the car really, really squirmish on you, really loose.
Well, Joe Plazik seems to be waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know if that's going to happen. Doug Hoffman, well, he was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and he may have gotten some good luck, Andy.
He's got a hot shoe, Cowboy. Doug Hoffman, 12th position, not what you want, but it gets you in the show on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than last year, isn't it? At least we're in the show, but I'm going to run the other car in the other heat. I think we're going to be better. We had a tire going down, and I was starting to get real tight out there, so we really just hung on, you know, and our 12th is nothing to write home about, but right now I think we have a car that's real adjustable. I was going to come into pits there at the end and just make some adjustments, try and get the car better. I'm looking for adjustability on Sunday, and I think this is the type of race car that we can make a lot of adjustments during pit stops and dial the car in as the track changes. I think that's going to be the key.
A lot of guys had motor troubles in that race. Any reasons?
The track's real fast. You know, hopefully the track isn't this fast on Sunday, because when you got to run at that pace, it's just hard on tires, hard on motors, and hard on the car. I hope that the track I actually hope the track slows up quite a bit for Sunday, so we don't have to run the cars quite this hard.
Okay, a couple of updates. Kenny Brightville overheated. He hurt the motor. He's got a new one for Sunday. Kenny Tremont blew his motor the second of the day. He blew one in hot laps earlier and one just now. He doesn't have another motor, so he's in trouble. And Abald, we all know the story there. Back up to the tower.
All right, thank you very much, both Cowboy and Andy Fusco. Let's take a look at the top 6 finishers. Joe Plazik, Jimmy Horton, Billy Decker. Randy Sherlock finished 4th, Steve Payne 5th, and Alan Johnson 6th.
It was a great run in this first qualifier.
And so things continue very positively for Joe Plazik. Our second race, the Briosky Qualifier, is coming your way. The winner of race number 1, Canada, Joe Plazik. We return to Super Dirt Week 26 after this.
Rush Hour Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
The country's largest suppliers of aerial lifts. They extend every effort to get your job done. Access Rentals. Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery back at the New York State Fairgrounds, and there's the top 6 for the Easy Care Page Transportation Qualifier.
Yeah, Alan Johnson probably the biggest story in that particular top 6. Here we go, the second 6. Gilly taking a great run. He always runs good here on the mile. Bobby Varon, that was a position change right at the end when Ted got by Varon. Chris Moore finishing 9, Lou Blaney in 10. Petty Abald, that engine problem, he didn't come across the line in 11th, and Doug Hoffman finishing in the number 12 spot.
And there was some question about the finish of Doug Hoffman. It is now an official 12th spot.
Yeah, there was a question, and we talked about it during the program, that he may have jumped to start, but apparently not.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup now for heat number 2, sponsored by Briosky. And on the pole, the corporate jet, number 3, Budweiser, Brett Hearn. And outside, jumping, Jack Johnson, number 87.
Canada Joe, you just saw him in race number 1. Well, here he is back again. He'll start 3rd. The 35-year-old father of 5 out of Caister Center, Ontario. A.J. Romano is alongside.
Row 3, it's Jimmy Hauser and Jeff Hetzler.
Row number 4 on the inside will be Stevie Botcher. Pete Bicknell's alongside.
On to row 5, Danny Johnson and Richie Tobias.
Row number 6 on the inside, starting 11th, is Dwayne Howard out of Pennsylvania. Steve Payne is back. He'll start in position 12.
Also back, the M1 of Jimmy Horton and the 114 of Craig Van Doren.
Row number 8 on the inside, Bud Chrisman out of New Jersey. Bobby Hayes is alongside.
Row 9, Donnie Corellis and Mitch Gibbs.
Row number 10 on the inside will be Scotty Prentice, and Pat Ward is alongside in the car 56.
Dick Larkin and J.R. Hefner.
Row number 12 on the inside will be Maynard Ferret out of Amsterdam, New York, and Mike Benson is alongside.
Row 13, the 19 of Timmy Fuller, and the number 9 of Barefoot Bob McCready.
And in row number 14, we've got Vic Coffey out of Leicester, New York, and Timmy McCready starts behind his dad in car number 24.
Guy Sheldon and Gordy Button round out the 15th row, and we're set for racing. Briosky Qualifier at the New York State Fairgrounds. The field into turn 3. Brett Hearn has been exceptionally fast here at the New York State Fairgrounds. He garnered the pole for the Phase 300, and let's see what he's got as the field comes out of turn number 4. Brett Hearn fires, And we've got a great heads-up start, and it looks like Jack Johnson may get a little bit of a head start on Brett Hearn. He beat him to the punch into turn 1.
Jumpin' Jack had more horsepower on the start, and he's grabbed the lead, and Dan Mazda, Duchess overhead doors car. What a surprise there. Romano has taken over position number 3. Plazek falls back to 4. Hetzler is in 5. Hauser is in 6. Bicknell runs in position 7. And we've got a car up against the wall in turn number 2.
We have the yellow flag coming out now. What a jump for Jack Johnson, their race leader. Brett Hearn is second. Pace truck is out there, the Dodge Dakota.
Yeah, that's the 27 of Ray Bliss Jr. out of Warsaw, New York. We didn't have him in the lineup, but he must have been added as an alternate, and unfortunately he gets to spin here. Gets a little TV time. The Zeke the Streak out of Warsaw in his own number 27Z.
What did you see on the start there?
I saw Jumpin' Jack. I saw them come to the line. There's a chalk mark. We probably didn't talk about that, but you can see it on the screen just as they leave turn number 4. They can't race before they get there. They came to a dead even. They got on the accelerator, and Jack Johnson won the drag race. Can you believe it?
Well, you have to believe it. He is pretty familiar with the track. This is 25th Super Dirt Week.
Yeah, they both know the track very, very well. So it was a matter of making it all happen.
Let's get a quick report from the pits and Andy Fusco.
Well, our current bubble car is Richie Tobias, Toby Tobias Jr. Just before the start of this race, I asked him if he can pass on the outside. As most Syracuse fans know, Tobias has passed more cars on the outside at Syracuse probably than any other driver in their career. Today, however, don't expect it. Toby says there's no outside of this track. He's going to try to get down to the bottom. It didn't succeed there in the first lap. He got wide in 1 and 2, fell back a couple of spots, and Toby is now on the bubble.
We're going to go side by side for the restart. 1 lap into our 20-lap qualifier number 2. And you see the leaders, Jack Johnson and Brett Hearn, just switch around. Jack wants that inside groove.
Yeah, that'll generally be the fast way around the mile here. And we heard Andy talking about Tobias not running up on top. Well, when they came across here in the caution, he was the 3rd car out. So he was way, way outside. He'll make a groove up there whether there's one or not.
Also swapping positions, Joe Plazek was inside row 2. Now he's outside, and A.J. Romano, who followed Jack Johnson, got a little jump on Plazek.
Yeah, that may have been a result of the front row taking off the way they did. They are on the move. They have started at the cone on the back straightaway, and Jack Johnson again has won the drag race and leads. We have a car way up high against the wall, but he's able to continue. I believe that'll be Bud Chrisman. That is Chrisman, and the Briosky number 18. He lost a bunch of ground. He almost won the wall, but he got away with it.
Lap 2, and Jack Johnson is looking to run away from Brett as a car up in the wall in turn number 2.
Stevie Botcher, the 2nd-generation driver out of Lighton, Pennsylvania, is against the wall, and somebody came in behind him. That was Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson against the wall as well. And now we got 2 other cars crashing on the back straightaway. Correction, that's Bobby Hayes Jr., not Danny Johnson. Bobby Hayes Jr., the 4-star transmission car. And there we see Gordy Button in car number 95 is also involved. Button in the maroon and white number 95.
One more car pinched in there.
That's J.R. Hefner. J.R. Hefner out of Sheffield, Massachusetts in car 14. So I guess all told, we had 4 cars involved in that little jingle, and we have 3 of them still sitting on the racetrack.
And for the first time today, we just may have to bring out the hook and use that hook. We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds Super Dirt Week 26. The Briosky 20 qualifier for the Phase 300 will return on Rush Hour right after these messages.
Rush Hour Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
Super Dirt Week 26. Triple 20 qualifiers for the Phase 300, and we've got a casualty right there.
We certainly do. That's J.R. Hefner. There is Stevie Botcher, 2nd-generation driver. Bobby was his dad, raced here a number of years. Both of those cars out of the race here. And we are ready to go back to green. The white flag has been displayed.
Let's see what happened, though, in this little jingle. And watch how high this car gets, and whammo, right into the wall.
He went in just a little too hot. He may have had just a tap from the 114 of Craig Von Doren, but that wasn't the problem. Then Bobby Hayes with no place to go. Hayes, a 2-time winner this year at the Orange County Fair Speedway. He was the 358 champion there in 1996.
And that's Botcher scrubbing that wall. We're going back to green now. at the New York State Fairgrounds as these cars come flying out of turn 4, and let's pick up the action. Jumping Jack Johnson gets the jump on Brett Hearn. Joe Plosick is third. Jeff Hetzler is now in 4th place.
Hetzler's made a power move around A.J. Romano, and Jimmy Hauser in the green and black HB2, the Hauser Brothers Mechanical Contractors car, has picked up a spot as he slid by Danny Johnson. Danny is extremely high on the back straightaway. There's Pete McDell in the orange and white car trying to make a move on the inside of Danny. Couldn't make it happen. That was all for position number 8.
Now, there were some drivers talking about the track creating some loose conditions.
Yeah, Joe Plosick says there were some pockets or pots, as he called them, making things a little loose right now. And I think Doug Hoffman had it really right. The track may be a little rough, but it is extremely fast, and it's the speed that's the problem, not necessarily little pock marks or whatever. There's Tobias way down on the inside. He may have made a little bit of contact as he tried to pick up a spot.
Richard Tobias in the number 17 down the back straightaway. They roar.
That's Donnie Corrales looking on the inside of Von Doren, and there we have a crash. And that is a heavy-duty crash. That would be Guy Sheldon. Guy Sheldon in the Harley-Davidson Saxon Signs cars is one of the cars involved, and that thing has been virtually destroyed. And Maynard Forret, the racing veteran out of Amsterdam, New York, heavy damage there. That's just out of turn 2 on the narrow back straightaway. We didn't describe this properly at the top of the show, but it's quite wide here on the front straightaway. Then they race off into turn 1. Again, it's wide. Then it narrows down in 2, and as they go down the back straightaway, it gets very narrow. And we'll see Andy Fusco. He's on the scene. He'll have a report for us momentarily. But that's Maynard Ferret in the Queens Machine Northern Speed Supply number 78, and the other car involved was Guy Sheldon in the S car. We'll see if we can see what happens.
Kevin Kovac tells us that Ferret, the oldest driver in the field at 63 years of age, and here we go, folks. Now it's just a hang-on situation.
Yeah, Sheldon got down on the inside and went up over the berm and lost control, then skated across the track. And I'll tell you, that Kevin Kovac, we talk about him all the rush hour shows, but to come up with the fact that Ferret's age, that's a closely guarded secret. Now we've let the world know, but he would never tell me how old he was.
Sorry, Maynard. Let's go down to Andy Fusco.
Thanks, Doug. Andy Fusco right here in the scene in turn 2. They're pulling Maynard Ferret out of the car. Maynard, how was the hit?
Hard.
Tell us what happened.
Somebody got right into me sideways there, and I don't know what the heck is going on, but he just kept on pushing. There was no need for it. He was on top of the guardrails, the sandbank, instead of where he's supposed to have been.
Well, Maynard Ferret, a little injured there in the leg, but looks in pretty good shape. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the Queens Machine. The Buono number 78 is kind of really taking a tough hit on the right-hand side of the car. This one's going to be an all-winter repair, guys.
Boy, what a shame. And Maynard obviously quite distressed. Here we go, and you see that Maynard is just shoved right into the wall.
Yeah, these are two Lebanon Valley Speedway regulars, so Maynard probably knew who it was that was on the inside of, but he was being very polite.
That wheel came off.
Yeah, the axle came with it.
Yeah.
Heavy duty hit. He looked pretty good for a 63-year-old guy that just hit the wall at 100 miles an hour, right?
I would say.
I hope I hit that good at 63, whether I don't hit the wall.
Yeah, well, I hope you don't hit the wall. Yeah, well, now what are Maynard's options here the rest of the week?
I think he has no options. He is a one-car deal, and the same for Guy Sheldon. Now, Sheldon does have a small block car, but I think that'll do it for Maynard Ferret for the weekend.
Boy, that's too bad. You can just tell how let down he was by the whole situation. We are 5 laps in. This is our second 20-lap qualifier, sponsored by Bryaski, and the leader is Jumpin' Jack Johnson, another great racing veteran.
Yeah, incidentally, this is the same car that Jimmy Horton drove to victory in the 1994 300 here. So it's been rebuilt several times, but the chassis is the same. It looked all new to us this year. They've got some new paint scheme for this particular weekend, but it's the same old car that Jimmy drove to victory when he was driving for the Dan Madsen team back in 1994.
Andy Fusco's still down at the scene of the crash. Andy, take it away.
Thanks, Doug. Down in turn 2. Here's a hole in turn 2. Now, as Gary's been telling us, it's not a very deep hole. That's not the problem. But here is the problem. Underneath the hard track surface where the holes are starting to develop, very loose cinders. This is a horse race track the rest of the year. As these cinders get chewed up in the holes, they get thrown to the outside of the groove. That's why we've seen so many cars in the wall here in turn 2 the last couple of laps. It's very loose on the outside of this racetrack. Very tough to handle the outside groove.
Well, you get an indication of what they're battling at well over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, qualifying speed, fast time, 119 miles an hour. So,
average.
Yeah, that's the average. So they're really barreling down the straightaways.
Well, that's something, as we're still under yellow here in the qualifier number 2.
The Sam Dell downtown Dodge Dakota Pace Truck, and it's downtown Syracuse, just a few miles from here, has Wee Willie Allen at the keyboard, a Dirt Motorsports Hall of Famer. He's turned in a lot of miles in a race car, but I think several in the last few years, a whole lot more miles as a pace car driver.
Yeah, that's our Rush Hour Pace Truck. Isn't that beautiful?
It certainly is. Sam Dell has got a lot more dislike. He'd love to sell people. So
I'll bet. I don't know if they come with those flashing yellow lights.
Oh, for a few extra bucks, they give you those.
Sam Dell can get it done for you.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, there's Jumpin' Jack Johnson. There's the corporate jet, Brett Hearn.
Plazik and Hetzler. There was Danny Johnson on the inside, the Ray Bramble team. Mitch Gibbs, young driver out of North Norwich, New York, in the Ernie Kreiz car number 2G, is currently on the bubble. And we'll pick up that action here as the white flag is being displayed now by David Farney and Kenny Marshall. The starters here at the Speedway this weekend. Farney in the tower, and Marshall down on the racetrack. Will be going green next time around. Actually, when they get down the back straightaway, just past the halfway point of the back straightaway, that's where there's a cone, and at that point they can restart.
Didn't the safety crew and the cleanup crew do a great job, because those two cars were severely damaged?
Yeah, they did. Got them out of the way in a hurry for us, and we're ready to go back to racing.
And of course, these caution laps do not count. We'll have 20 laps of racing for these qualifiers, and the field continues the side-by-side restart.
5 laps have been completed, and there you see the Maynard Ferret car. That's now off the racetrack on the what we call a cinder track on the inside. The pace truck is clearing, and when I reach the cone that's at the bottom of the screen, they can go racing. They are there, and they are racing. They are 3 wide behind the leaders, and again, Jack Johnson pulls out, wins the drag race, and leads. They race off into turn number 3.
Boy, what a great first step for Jack Johnson again, and Brett Hearn.
Here's Gibbs up on the outside of Scotty Prentice. That's a battle for the final qualifying spot. And Jimmy Hauser threading his way through traffic in that green car, but up on the outside comes Daring Dan, the stock car man. He passed 3 cars.
Somebody high in turn 2.
Yeah, they're skating up in those cinders that Andy was telling us about. And now he's like right towards the wall. That would be Corellis. Donnie Corellis, the second-generation driver out of Rensselaer, New York, is against the wall.
Lebanon Valley regular in the wall, turn 2.
Another car involved was Mitch Gibbs. There you see Gibbs pulling off the racetrack, and he was in a qualifying spot. Too bad for Mitch Gibbs.
He was on the bubble. Yeah. Didn't decide to enter Dirt Week until Tuesday afternoon. Came to inspection a day late, Wednesday, and now into the pits.
And they had a good thing going for him. This car was brand new about a month ago, and they've had some great runs with it here in the late season.
Let's go down immediately to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Well, you guys called it absolutely right up there in the tower. Here's what happened. Corellis got high. He got the car straightened around. Looked like he was going to be able to pull out of it. But when he hit the throttle, he was right in those cinders we were talking about, and it just sucked the car right into the wall. His day's done.
Here you go. Looked like contact right there with Gibbs. And then out he goes.
What's that piece of yellow flying? Here it is again. Gibbs on the inside. There may have been some contact. Pat Ward just gets by. And well, let's see if we can see that piece of yellow that was flying behind. That doesn't show.
Back to Andy Fusco. Andy, what do you have for us?
Well, as I said earlier, it's still the cinders, the story back here in turn number 2. We haven't had to move about 100 feet maybe for the last 3 wrecks. It's all in the same spot. Somebody gets out of shape. They get to the top of the track, and then it's right into the wall.
Well, you know, it looked like Corellis came down, made contact with Gibbs, and then lost it out.
I think that's probably what happened, and that's a tough break for both those young drivers.
All right, well, we have much racing to come. We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds Super Dirt Week 26, and we'll continue on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, we're halfway through our second qualifying heat, the Brioski 20. from the New York State Fairgrounds and Super Dirt Week, and we have a new bubble car.
Timmy Fuller has moved the CarQuest car number 19 up to that bubble position at the moment. He's just moved by Dickie Larkin. He's trying to reel in Pat Ward to ensure himself yet a better spot in this event, as we are in position, or lap number 11 just completed.
Now remember, Fuller started 25th.
So he's made some progress. The other guy that's made some progress is Danny Johnson and the HB2 of the Hauser car. They are running currently in positions number 6 and 8 respectively, and they have made some great progress.
And Danny's had a few scary moments. He's gotten a little high and he's collected it.
Yeah, he was actually in the wall earlier this morning in another car in a hot lap session. He made some contact with the wall. He's now trying to run down his Saturday night nemesis, Jeff Hetzler. Hetzler beat him in the final race at Orange County and won the track championship, took it away from Danny. They're now battling for position number 5.
Boy, Danny was really loose come out of 4 and hung on once again. Now down the backstretch. There is Fuller.
Fuller trying to run around Pat Ward. Pat picked up a 358 prolonged 358 position with a 3rd place finish last night at Brewerton. There's Larkin in the purple and black car. He was in a qualifying spot. He's fallen back a couple of spots. Right behind him is Vic Coffey in the red and white car number 32.
Danny Johnson making a run on Hetzler down the front straightaway as we pick up action a little closer up, but no, he can't get him. Difficult to pass here.
It's difficult to pass when they're running so very, very fast. Both of these are Troyer cars with precision engines, so it's not really a surprise that they're running at about the same speed. It's a matter of putting some of the fine touches and fine tuning to make these things a winner, one over the other.
It's a battle for 5th place with Hetzler holding it down, and the doctor takes a peek outside but can't quite get the run this time.
And while they're having this little battle, Pete McNell is closing in, and the wins extend car number 1. McNell of the St. Catharines, Ontario, builds a number of these cars. In fact, of course, one is driving as well. That's owned by a consortium of gentlemen up in Quebec. It's the car that Steve Payne drives on a regular basis during the summer.
So this is about to become a 3-car battle for 5th place. Action on the racetrack as Jumpin' Jack Johnson has just leaped out in front of Brett Hearn and Joe Plosick. 1, 2, and 3, 15 laps into our 20-lapper.
We got to acknowledge A.J. Romano here. He's driving the Jim Bobar car number 12B, the car that Jack Johnson drove last year. He runs in position number 4. 1 year ago, we were talking about the fact that the young driver was battling for his life. He was involved in a highway crash here in Syracuse, was in the hospital a year ago. He obviously recovered, and right now it's a great therapy for the young driver. He runs in position 4 and doing a great job.
Curly second, Brett Hearn, and this is a car he brought to Super Dirt Week last year in the engine blue, is that right?
I get them mixed up. There's a number of cars, and they all look the same, and they sort things out, moving motors from chassis to chassis. It's hard to figure out which one's which.
Yeah, this was in the morning of Super Dirt Week, and so he's back out there running, and he's running pretty strong, but he's a clear second to Jack Johnson.
Yeah, they're racing for money now. It's $4,000 to win, $12,000 the total prize money. And again, he's already locked in for the pole in Sunday's race, so that's behind him. Of course, he'd like to win $4,000 as opposed to the 2nd place money, whatever that is, but he's content to ride it out right now.
With an update on the Hearn entry, let's go down to Andy Fusco.
Yeah, I'm close enough here to be able to tell the difference between the cars. The car out there right now, Hearn's, that's the Lebanon Valley car that he runs every Saturday night at the Valley. The car that we'll see in the next race is the just built for Syracuse car, the car that he hopes to be able to run in Sunday's race. The Lebanon Valley car has about 100 races on it in its lifetime. The brand new car has none.
All right, thanks for the update on number 3, Budweiser, number 3 of Brett Hearn.
Caution, we've got a yellow flag. We've got just 2 laps to go, and the yellow flag is being displayed.
So a car spun out of turn 2.
That's Mike Benson out of Eagle Bridge, New York. Young driver from Eagle Bridge has lost the handle and didn't make contact, or so it would appear. All 4 wheels are still on the car, all headed in the right direction, except the car's headed in the wrong direction right now, but he'll sort it out and fall in at the back. He's a rookie big block driver. He was here last year with the race with the small block. He'll race in tomorrow's prolong event as well.
Just 20 years of age. There is veteran Jack Johnson, the leader of our race, as the yellow is out. And I think we're going to end up having 2 laps of racing to wind out this Briosky 20.
Johnson, Hearn, Plosick, Romano, Hetzler, Danny Johnson, Pete McNell, Jimmy Hauser, Bud Chrisman, He's driving the Briosky car. Here we are in the Briosky race. This is a fitting deal. And the rest of the story on Bud Chrisman is he had an appendectomy just a few days ago. And here he is racing. Yeah, tough guys. Tough guys.
Well, I mean, I can't even think of rolling over in bed. And here he's driving on this track and at these speeds. Oh, incredible. Rustling the wheel.
You'd have thought he'd have postponed that emergency appendectomy, right?
Yeah, right.
After Super Dirt Week or something. But it was an emergency. Must have.
So was Super Dirt Week.
Yeah.
This is an emergency.
Okay, we're back to green. We hope we have no emergencies in the final 2 laps.
All right, here we go. And when they come around, there'll be 1 lap to go. Jack Johnson, as we mentioned, is 25th Super Dirt Week. Only missed 83. First New Yorker to win Super Dirt Week championship race here in 79. He also won in 84, so he's a 2-time winner. He leads this race down the back straightaway.
Everybody pretty much tucked in running in the order that they were running. Tobias is in a qualifying spot. We've not given him a call, but he is running behind Chrisman in the point number 17.
And now we will see the white flag displayed. 1 lap to go. Jack Johnson out of turn 4. There's Timmy Fuller, the bubble car, number 19.
Dickie Larkin is just behind Fuller. White flag is out.
Fuller hanging in there with Pat Ward.
Yeah, Fuller's trying to get by Ward. Of course, he's been trying to get by him for about the last 10 laps. Leader is in turn number 4. The checkered flags are ready. They'll fly over the Dan Madsden, number 87. Jack Johnson wins the Briosky qualifier.
So Jack Johnson is the winner. Brett Hearn second. Joe Plozak third. And then finishing 4th is A.J. Romano. This is the Pat Ward and Timmy Fuller winding out. So that's the way this one goes. The Briosky 20.
So Tobias makes it. We won't see any of his heroics in the non-qualifiers race on Sunday. Tobias finishes in position number 11. Finishing 12 was the 47 of Scott Prentice. 13, the 56 of Pat Ward. And the bubble car again, Timmy Fuller, the Car Quest number 19.
And he has said this may be his next to last Super Dirt Week. Jack Johnson is the winner of our qualifier, the Briosky 20, and our coverage will continue. We'll head down to Victory Lane on Rush Hour after this timeout.
Rush Hour Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
Catering provided to Dirt Motorsports by the Dinosaur Barbecue Restaurant, a honky-tonk rib joint located in downtown Syracuse, New York. The Dinosaur serves up the absolute best in barbecue specialties. And now you can get their unique sauces and funky apparel by calling toll-free for their new catalog. Take home a piece of the action. The Dinosaur Barbecue. Down to Victory Lane and Cowboy Paul Small.
Jumping Jack Johnson, winner of this Briosky qualifier. It's got to feel good when you can out-drag Brett Hearn on repeated restarts.
Yeah, it sure does. You know, Brett has owned this place for the last few years, and hey, anytime you can beat him here, you're doing pretty good.
Experience showing with the track being a little slick in some spots with that cinder coming up, or?
Yeah, there's some slick spots in the racetrack, but they're slick for everybody, and just got to work around them and keep the car under you.
Jack Johnson, the winner. You know, there's nothing like being the bubble car and finding out you've made the race. Tim Fuller just found that out. Andy Fusco's with him right now.
Thanks, Paul. Well, his team may not know how to spell his name, but Tim Fuller's no fool. You've gotten the car in the 300.
Yeah, you know, it's a pretty good feeling. Even though we had a guaranteed spot, it's nice to know you can get in without an insurance program. You know, they kept telling me I was qualified. I figured I could get a couple more spots, but I didn't need to, so save the car.
Okay, the Car Quest mount, you did a good job avoiding the crashes that happened in front of you. What was the story there?
Wow, that was the whole deal. You know, these are good drivers here, and they were running wild. You know, this is a big race to get into. When you have a race that pays $100,000 to win, everybody wants to be in it, and they showed it out there today. I mean, they weren't giving up anything. They were going in 3 wide, not giving up anything, and jumping the cinder track, and I never seen anything like it. I wouldn't do it. I mean, there's a good way of somebody getting killed, you know. I mean, this is a fast track, but you know, we made it through it, and all we can say is we're getting ready for the 300 now.
Okay, back up to you guys in the tower.
All right, well, quite a comment from Timmy Fuller, huh?
Running wild, I'd say.
I'd say Jack Johnson is the leader. He went wire to wire, as it turns out. Then Brett Hearn finishes second, Joe Plozak third, A.J. Romano, Jeff Hetzler, and Danny Johnson unofficially the top 6.
Then it's Pete Bicknell, Jimmy Hauser, Bud Chrisman, Craig Van Doren came home in position number 10, Scotty Prentice, Pat Ward, and then again the 13th finisher, Timmy Fuller.
Richie Tobias Jr. Yeah, 13. There's Fuller, and there's Dickie Larkin and Vic Coffey, the top 16. Unofficial results here from the New York State Fairgrounds as our second 20-lap qualifier is in the books. One more to go for the Phase 300. And this field is moving out already. You know, incidentally, Jack Johnson turned 53 on September 2nd. Race winner, the second qualifier, the 4th in Skoal points. He is one of 5 drivers with a chance to win the championship, the Skoal Bandit Racing Super Dirt Series Championship in Sunday's Phase 300.
At the top of the show, we talked a little bit. We touched on the fact that these drivers running in multiple races. The reason is money. Then they can take the best finish from the time trials and these qualifying races for their starting position on Sunday. So that's the reason you're seeing many of these drivers in 2 and 3 and maybe even 4 races.
All right, well, let's take a look at the starting field for the Frontier Cellular Heat number 3 qualifier. And on the pole is the corporate jet, Brett Hearn. And outside row number 1, that home-built modified of Barefoot Bob McCready.
Billy Decker is next in line in the Pennzoil number 91. Alongside will be Jeff Hetzler.
Steve Payne is row 3, along with A.J. Romano.
Then it's an all Vermont, row number 4. That doesn't happen very often. David Camara is on the inside. He's out of Pulteney, Vermont, in the State Express. And Todd Stone from Middlebury is alongside in his car number 1X.
On to row 5. It's the 3rd straight race for Jimmy Horton and the number 10 of Richie Urich.
6th row on the inside. Starting 11th will be Jimmy Hauser. He's worked up a sweat. Doug Hoffman is alongside. He says this will be the faster car. We'll see.
Wayne Howard and Donnie Corellis make up row 7.
Back in row number 8 on the inside, it'll be Danny Johnson. Jack Johnson, he buckles up again. He'll go from the 16th spot.
No wonder he didn't get too excited in victory lane. Row 9, Dale Plank and Pete Bicknell.
10th row on the inside will be Jimmy Chester out of Newfield, New Jersey. Brian Turner from Victor, New York is alongside.
H.J. Bunting.
Great second-generation driver there.
Yeah, Milton, Delaware, and Alan Johnson, the R24.
12th row on the inside, Jack Cottrell and Timmy McCready. Talk about second-generation drivers. He's got a long way to go in a short time to get there.
Row 13, Elaine Boisvert, and the number 6 of Johnny Moravec.
14th row on the inside will be Bud Chrisman. Guy Sheldon is going to go alongside in his Hot Rod Lincoln. We saw him crash earlier.
And look at row 15, and we are set for the Frontier Cellular Heat number 3, the qualifiers at the New York State Fairgrounds. Field down the back straightaway now. And the Samdell Dodge Dakota Pace Truck leads the field, ducks in, and side by side into turn 3. Brett Hearn and Bob McCready. Boy, you talk about a Hall of Fame front row.
That's right. We'll watch this drag race. So again, we're looking for the white line in turn 4.
Here comes the field. They fire already. Brett Hearn is off and running. Green flag does fly. Brett Hearn got quite a jump. Bob McCready falls to 3rd as Billy Decker is 2nd.
Yeah, that was ragged to say the least. And on the start, Pete McNell has a problem in his Extend 1 car. He pulls to the top of the race.
We've got a wreck.
Crash.
Just a spin, as it turns out, and now contact.
Right.
3 cars now involved in all. And another car slowed down the back straightaway.
That's Johnny Moravec is one of the cars involved. Richie Urich is the other car. Urich up against the wall in the Kensington Manor car number 10. Johnny Moravec, a brand new water wagon, a young driver out of Penn Yan. Oh, what a disappointing this day this is for the Yates County Rapid Transit Authority.
And there's one car just a little further up in turn 2 that was also up against the wall and is stopped.
And there was a red car down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, let's take a look at it again. Here's the replay. There it is right there.
Somebody got turned all the way around.
And then, boom.
Yeah, there was Johnny Moravec with no place to go. And there's the other car that you were talking about on the nice side. That's that.
Okay. Yep. That's Johnson. Jimmy Johnson. Bloomingburg, New York.
No, that's not. That's Dave Murdoch. He's a Pennsylvania driver. That's the number 77 of Dave Murdoch. There are a couple 77s, but that's Murdoch.
That's it. Dave Murdoch. He was a late add to our rundown. Let's go down to Andy Fusco's on the scene. Andy?
Thanks, guys. I'm on the scene. I'm going to try to get in here with Johnny Moravec, and now the tow truck's blocking my way. Hard for me to see exactly what happened here. It looks like Moravec's car just got collected, and that it was Urich's number 10 that unfortunately was the one that got sideways.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the case. Urich spun.
Too many cars going too fast all in the same place. That's what happened there.
Okay, I'm ready again now.
Okay, go for it, Andy.
Okay, here's Johnny Moravec. Johnny, what happened?
Well, we're coming down the front stretch. Everything was doing good. It looks like somebody blew a motor in front of us. Couldn't control it. Everybody just stacked up. Nothing we could do.
Tough day, tough week for the Canandaigua regular.
That's a tough break. He had to make a decision about coming here or watching his son play football. He decided to come here, but his son will play football tomorrow, so maybe he'll be able to do both.
Meanwhile, we'll go side by side for the restart, and Brett Hearn is the race leader. Billy Decker is second. Bob McCready is third. We'll be back with the Frontier Cellular qualifying race number 3, the third of our triple 20s qualifiers for the Phase 300 coming up on Sunday. Back to the New York State Fairgrounds, Super Dirt Week 26 on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day. Super Dirt Week event apparel. Super Dirt Week. Hooded sweatshirts. Event apparel. Tie-dye tees. Super Dirt Week. Winter jackets. Event apparel. Event tees. Super Dirt Week event apparel. Super Dirt Week event apparel.
Wise.
I can't believe they went with the frogs.
Louis.
Our audition was flawless.
Louis.
We did the look. Huh? We did the tongue thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Louis, frogs sell beer. That's it, man. #1 rule of marketing.
The Budweiser lizards. We could have been huge.
Hey, there'll be other auditions.
Oh, yeah, for what? This was Budweiser, buddy.
No.
This was big. Those frogs are gonna pay.
Let it go, Louis. Let it go.
Hello, Bomb. Mercury switches with fiber alloy. This guy's high tech. We have to cut the ground wire. I'm gonna cut right now, standing by. Oh man, it's a decoy. We gotta cut now. We gotta cut. Where am I going?
What if you didn't have to worry about getting your blood pressure checked? Blue Cross and Blue Shield of New Jersey.
I'd prefer them up.
Down.
Up.
Down.
Up.
Down.
Up.
All right. Let's go.
Down.
Rush Hour on Dirt Apparel, furnished by Bob Hilbert Sportswear. Remember, the official supplier of Dirt Motorsports Apparel is Bob Hilbert Sportswear. There's a phone number where you can get a catalog and get yourself properly adorned. Well, last year, Brett Hearn became the first driver to win 2 heat races during Super Dirt Week, triple 20s. He's looking for his first here today.
That's right. He's not going to win 2 today. Not in the big blocks. No, he could still win one of the small block races.
Hearn inside. Boy, they're off and running again, and Bob McCready has lost another position. He's back to 4th now as Decker challenges Brett Hearn into turn 4 and down the front straightaway.
And again, Danny Johnson working the outside. And the red-white car number 6, they come 3 wide down the front straightaway. Way up on top is Danny Johnson. He'll fall in the line as they race off into turn number 1.
Yeah, he pitched his way in there. They're 3 wide once again, this time with Hoffman out high in turn 2.
If it's dangerous up there, Hoffman didn't get the message. And there comes somebody on the outside of Hoffman. Look at that. 3 wide down the back straightaway. And it is Hoffman on the inside. He'll pick up the spot. And contact. Jimmy Chester in the black number 44 on the inside. makes the move and puts the blue and potato car in one position ahead of where it was before. And coming from the back of the pack like a hot knife through butter is Timmy McCready. He's in a red, white, and blue Jeff Gordon power outlet car, and he's in so much traffic you probably won't be able to pick him out on the screen, but boy, is he coming up in a hurry.
We'll chart his progress as the race goes.
His dad's progress, however, has been backwards. He's running in position number 4 with the Kenny Gross cars number 9.
He got jumped on both restarts.
Steve Payne runs in position number 5. A.J. Romano is in 6. Camara is in 7. Danny Johnson is in 8. Todd Stone is in 9. Jimmy Horton rounds out the top 10 with Doug Hoffman running 11.
Yeah, gave a peek on the inside, but outside in the back straightaway couldn't gain a position. There is McCready.
Timmy coming up to challenge Brian Turner for the spot. Turner in the room. This is a battle for position number 14. Turner has 14. Timmy McCready runs at 15. And McCready came from the number 24 spot. We are just 4 laps into this race.
So he is moving. Boy, what a promising future Tim McCready has.
Yeah, and the young man has some opinions, and his crew chief, Randy Kosaki, responded in spectacular fashion earlier yesterday. They had 2 cars, both big blocks. They changed motors, and I asked why. Well, Timmy liked one chassis better than the other. He liked one motor better than the other. The problem was the motor was in the wrong chassis, so they changed things around. Nothing was broken. He just felt that would give him a little bit of an advantage. We'll see if it works out.
Johnson, number 6.
Burns trying to check out on this one. He runs about 15 car lengths in front of Decker, who's in 2nd. Decker has a comfortable advantage over the 3rd place car of Hetzler. McCready runs at 4. Payne is at 5. The battle is for 6. A.J. Romano has it. Danny Johnson wants it. Back at 8 is Camara in the 26.
That's a good run for Danny, who has been struggling this week to find some speed, but he's with the big boys here. Moving on Romano. Good battle for position.
Moving in on Romano, up on the outside. Daring Dan dives in harder. Now jumps to the bottom of the racetrack, pulls alongside. Oh, but Romano holds him off. Wow. And something over 100 miles an hour, closer than you park your car in the parking lot. Incredible.
Brett Hearn. 8 laps in. There is Danny Johnson.
Danny's best finish in the Phase 300 was last year when he finished 2nd.
Boy, he feels he is so primed to win this thing. Right on A.J. Romano's bumper. Look at Romano come out.
No rear view mirrors. He doesn't know he was back there. He just kind of sensed it.
Lucky guess.
Yeah, right. He can hear somebody, but he doesn't know who it is. Well, radio communication. They've told him who it is.
And there goes Danny, and he got him. Into turn 1.
Just went in a little deeper, and that'll do it.
Yeah, A.J. Romano so high on his car. Says the best car he's ever run at Syracuse, but looked like a little bit of smoke.
Smoke coming from Danny Johnson's car. That's the report. I think it was just tire smoke because he went in so very, very hard. But we'll watch that and see what happens here.
All right.
We are at the halfway mark. 10 laps of it. There's a shot of Tommy Kristiak, a driver out of Pennsylvania. Finding his way around the mile. He was a rookie here last year. Loved it. Came back trying to get in the field for the 1997 edition. Here's our race leader. Burn across the line.
He's going to run into left traffic.
Yes, he is. And Jeff Hetzler has reeled in the 2nd place car of Billy Decker, and right behind him is McCready. There you see him, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Decker, Hetzler, and McCready all showing in the same shot on the camera.
Now, not a lot to be gained by these three individuals, save for finishing money today, right?
You just said it, money. That's it. That's all.
Of course, who needs that?
They are 4 wide down the front straightaway. Look at that shot. They just narrowed out as Hearn put by lap cars.
Clicked off 3 of them.
Right.
1, 2, 3. There's your race leader. Budweiser number 3, Brett Hearn, who feels so good about his setup this week.
When he earned the pole here on Wednesday, that was his 4th career pole for the Phase 300. There's Hetzler working his way through the traffic.
Are you going to get him?
I don't know, but they've lost Decker in the process. And now they're come down through the middle. That was Brian Weaver up on the outside, young driver out of Conklin, New York, and down on the bottom was 40 Button in the maroon and white number 95.
Billy Decker is pulled out away in that lap traffic scrum in front of Hetzler, who is 3rd, and there's Bob McCready in the number 9, Kenny Drugs.
The built for Syracuse McCready special.
Boy, did it turn some heads.
Yeah, it certainly has. This is the 2nd year for this car, and here they're going to shoot.
Here they
close. Bunting, H.J. Bunting, the Delaware state champion. In the middle there, that was a Delaware sandwich, I guess, and Hetzler went by on the inside and McCready on the outside. They didn't change their order at all, but they got by Bunting.
14 laps plus in. Lap number 15 as Hearn comes by the front straightaway. There's McCready. There's the interval. Hetzler to McCready. Bob seemed to be able to reel him in a little bit, but couldn't make the pass a few laps ago.
Meanwhile, the 5th place car, Payne, is basically 3/4 of a straightaway behind him, so he's not a factor here for a top 4.
As we take a look at Hearn, speaking of pain, how about the back pain that Bob McCready is running with?
Yeah, that's been a problem for Bob for the past several years. He broke his back in an accident at the Cuba County Fair Speedway Sport a number of years ago, and that problem has been aggravated by some accidents over the years, and of course age is wearing on as well, so there's a problem, and McCready is threatening to quit, as a matter of fact, but we'll see what happens during the winter. They're going to have an operation in November.
26C of Tommy Christiak is on the bubble.
And here you see Danny Johnson coming up to put a lap on the H.J. Bunting car. Bunting was so spectacular in our Rush Hour Live show down at the Delaware International Speedway, where he ran with the leaders and finished in the top 5 and got the spot for Syracuse. There's Christiak again, the driver out of Western Pennsylvania, the Christiak Motorsports, number 26, currently running in the bubble. And again, if he should qualify, this will be the 2nd year in a row. Last year he had a great race here. Loved it and came back. No, got slow car.
That's turn 4. 73.
Elaine Bovair, yeah. 2 laps to go.
Boy, thanks to Dick Montgomery for pointing that out to us. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, he's been around a few races.
Yeah, he has. Bovair getting back up to speed. At speed. The Jet.
Bovair out of Pointe Claire, Quebec, is a bilingual auctioneer. Think about it. Does
Oui.
French? Oui. It's easy for you to say.
Yes, it is. Down the back straightaway goes Hearn, rear following Bovair. And there's Brett Hearn.
He's going to try to lap the bubble car, Christiak.
Down the front straightaway, the corporate jet now swings it out of 4. The checkered flag is out. Brett Hearn is the winner of the Frontier Cellular 20-lap qualifier. Decker, then Hetzler, then McCready, the top 4.
Steve Payne will come across the line and finish 5. Danny Johnson will get 6. The battle for 7 rages on. They're going to come down the line, and finishing in the number 7 spot will be Romano. It's A.J. Romano. Then it was David Camaro getting the number 8 spot.
All right, well, we'll take a look at the final order of finish here for our third of the triple 20s qualifiers for Sunday's world's richest race on dirt, the Phase 300. Frontier Cellular 20 goes to the corporate jet in the Budweiser number 3, Brett Hearn. We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds. Super Dirt Week 26 continues our coverage from the fairgrounds after this timeout on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
Our coverage of Super Dirt Week 26. Frontier Cellular qualifying race 20-lapper goes to the corporate jet. Brett Hearn. Let's go down to Victory Lane where Andy Fusco is now on the scene.
Thanks a lot, Doug. Down here with Brett Hearn in the corporate jet number 3, the Budweiser car. Brett, looked pretty easy out there.
Well, this car was more comfortable than the last race. I feel pretty confident. Our primary car is ready to go for Sunday. I was kind of concerned to see what it would do after about 15, 16 laps, but it felt like it stayed pretty comfortable, and I got to say congratulations to the Bud crew, Auto Palace, the people that stand behind this team. Without them, we wouldn't be here. It's been a great week for us.
Just how important is it for someone like you to get this car into the race as opposed to the other car, which looks pretty good to me?
Well, the other car was good, but, you know, we came here with the intention that this would be our faster car. It's got the newer parts in it. It's really set to go the distance. The other car is a car we've been running all year long on Saturday nights. It really doesn't have the fresh parts that you need to go the 300-kilometer distance here.
Well, Brett Hearn's set to go to the distance, so are the 358s. Back up to you guys in the tower.
All right, thank you very much, Andy. How great is Super Dirt Week thus far for Brett Hearn? Well, $2,500 for pole position on Wednesday, $4,000 for winning the 358 modified 100 last night at Brewerton, $4,000 for this victory, $2,000 for a second place, the second runner-up position, and so he's already won $12,500, and that ain't hash.
That's enough to buy some new parts for that old car, I guess.
Brett Hearn is the winner of our third qualifier. Then Billy Decker, Jeff Hetzler, Bob McCready finished 4th after starting 2nd. Steve Payne and Danny Johnson round up the top 6.
Finishing number 7 spot was A.J. Romano. Then it was David Camara. Todd Stone, a great run for this young driver out of Middlebury, Vermont. Jimmy Horton, Jimmy Chester, Doug Hoffman gets his second top 12 finish, and there's Dale Plank, a good run for him. Timmy McCready came from 25th to get 14th. Brian Turner and Donnie Carellas through top 16.
Unofficial results from the Frontier Cellular 20. And so now we have, time permitting, we'll bring you 2 more 20-lap qualifiers, and these are qualifiers for the Prolonged 200, which comes your way Saturday afternoon.
That's right. These are for the 358 cars. The 358 is the distinction for the engine size. The modifieds that you just saw, they're restricted to 467 cubic inches. These are 358, and with that cubic inch displacement differential, there's a horsepower differential as well. They're going to be twin races. Now, the drivers in these next 2 races, they're all qualified. They're here by invitation. They run qualifying races throughout the summer. That's how they got an invite to come. So they're running for qualifying positions. The top 10 from time trials were locked in yesterday, but now it's from 11 on back by virtue of the finishes in these races here this afternoon.
Now, there will be some names that we are familiar with?
Yes, a lot of them. As a matter of fact, some drivers that we just saw have done their little thing and run off to another race. And Joe Plazik is one of those guys. He was just out here a minute ago, and he's back at it again. Or will be back at it again.
And so the field comes out for our 20-lapper. All right, well, we have more on the third of our qualifying 20-lap races. That's the story of Barefoot Bob McCready, and Andy Fusco is with the Barefooted Wonder.
Thanks, Doug. Bob, this blue car looks awful fast when it's by itself, but something seems to happen when you get in traffic.
Well, it's not real good in traffic. That's the problem, you know. We're fooling with it. We've got a couple more days. Hopefully we'll get it by Sunday.
Is this the car you'll run in the 300?
We don't know. You know, it's we're going to run the best car. You know, we're going to try the other one again this week before the week's over and go from there.
What would make a car good by itself and not good with others?
Well, I wish we knew that. You know, if we knew that, we'd fix it. But that's where we're at right now.
The most popular driver on dirt, but right now he's struggling.
Looking for answers.
Yeah. And the deal here is air. I think that we've reached that plateau where the air moving around these cars is what makes the difference, and that's what McCready is wrestling with. And that's the stuff you can't see is the stuff toughest to fix, and that's what their problem is.
Well, there's the field for the first of our twin 20s for the qualifying for the prolonged 200. The row one, Joe Plozak and Billy Denker.
We've seen him before. Second row on the inside, Andy Piketty out of Sheffield, Massachusetts. The defending champion of this race, Kenny Tremont, is alongside.
Todd Wilkinson and Steve Payne, row three.
Row number 4 on the inside will be Pete Bicknell. Dickie Larkin is alongside.
On row 5, Jerry Higbee and Jack Johnson.
The 6th row, starting 11th, will be Alan Johnson, and Jimmy Chester will start in position 12.
Jeff Hetzler and Pat O'Brien, row 7.
8th row on the inside, Mike Benson, and Chris Crispin is alongside.
Also row 9, Tommy Meyer and Ralph Rue.
The 10th row on the inside will be Timmy Dwyer out of Gloversville. Mike Perotti is alongside.
Row 11, there's Leon and Todd Milton. And row 12, we're under green flag conditions.
And they are 4 wide going into turn number 1, but they thought better of it. Way down on the inside, losing a lot of ground was Hetzler. You'd have thought he'd been able to pick up, but not the case, as he was too far down apparently.
That was a smart decision to go from 4 wide to 2.
Yeah, but that wasn't a smart decision that somebody just made on the back straightaway, and that was Hetzler again. So he's dicing around.
Well, no one called Jeff shy in a race car. Each of these 20 lappers will pay $1,000 to win.
There's $5,000 in total prize money, so the payoff is a little different. But these guys, it makes no difference if they're running for $50,000 or $500. They're going to give it their all every lap here on the Miles Syracuse.
Now, this is the first time that the 358 modifieds have had qualifying heats. The top 10 drivers have already earned their starting spots through time trials yesterday. They drew for positions earlier.
Yeah, so they're really now fighting for positions 11 on back in tomorrow's prolonged Super Lubricants 358 championship race.
All part of Super Dirt Week 26.
The greatest extravaganza on dirt. In front row, Joe, or Canada Joe, has his Maple Leaf special out front. He was fast timer for the 2nd year in a row in this division. But he didn't, he won't start on the pole. Drew position way back.
Yeah, 8th. You know, the thing is that, boy, you talk about earning money immediately. This is, look what Brett Hearn has done already, Super Dirt Week.
Yeah, Plozak, until last night when Hearn won the $4,000 in a race that Plozak didn't compete in, Plozak was actually ahead of him because he had fast time on the 2nd day. That was 2,000. He made 1,500 on the first day for second. So he had 3,500 going in. Plus, there's a $1,000 award for the fastest lap of the whole week. And right now, Plozak has that spot. Has that fastest lap.
Let's get an update on Jeff Hetzler's situation down to Andy Fusco.
Guys, he started 11th. Right now, he's fighting for 5th. The reason's real simple. When he time trialed, he only had 7 cylinders. Right now, he's banging on all 8, and he's really flying.
Oh, he sure is.
He's trying to fly around Pete Bicknell. Bicknell in the black number 56 with the red trim. And there, Bicknell's car blew an oil fire. Bicknell's car is up in smoke, and we were just talking about him as he was about to be passed by Hetzler. Well, Hetzler got by him, and Bicknell out of St. Catharines, Ontario. An oil fire. The fire has extinguished itself, and the 56 will come to a stop on the back straightaway.
So the yellow is out 4 laps in to the first of our twin 20s qualifiers for tomorrow's prolonged 200.
Yeah, we were used to seeing Bicknell in cars numbered 42, or this weekend we saw him in the Extend 1 big block car. This is the Woodward number 56 that he's driving here this weekend. In this division, I'm sorry.
We have a great facility here at the New York State Fairgrounds for racing. We have 375 acres of land, 107 building structures, plus parking for 24,000 cars. This is the host of the annual New York State Fair, which attracts almost 1 million visitors. Also host of over 100 non-fair time events. Shows that attract an additional 1.5 million visitors throughout the year.
And right now, they're living on the campus are something in excess of 25,000 people. They've been living here all week in anticipation of Sunday's race.
We'll be here, of course, tomorrow and Sunday. We have a car going wide. That's Steve Payne in turn 4.
Yeah, Payne running in the top 5 on the restart, pulls up to the top of the racetrack. This is a car that they were hoping for some very, very special things on it, but it's a Chrysler-powered car, the only Mopar in the field, and it was they've been working on this motor all summer long and finally got it all together, and now it has a problem here very, very early going.
Yeah, he hid up against the wall out of turn 4. Now he's going to try to limp into the pits. And the pace truck is going to yield. Payne is off the track.
And Joe Plazek will lead lap number 7 as he comes across the line. Make that lap number 6.
Payne nearly won last year's 358 modified 200, but broke down late while leading, and he's down and out in this one.
Well, the guy who did win last year's 358 championship race was Kenny Tremont. He currently runs in position number 3, but he's got a problem. The problem is Jeff Hetzler. Hetzler is closing in on the 3rd place car in a big hurry as they race through turns 3 and 4.
This is the first of 2 qualifiers for the Prolong 200. We had 3 qualifying races for the Phase 300. With a further update, here's Andy Fusco.
A.J. Romano, a year ago today, you were literally on death's doorstep. Right now, you got a car in the top 15 in the Phase 300.
Yeah, it feels real good, Andy. I mean, first of all, it's real good to be here. After, like you said, we were a year ago. It's nice just to be here. But to be here and be in the starting field at Syracuse, and that really means an awful lot to us. And well, I got to pinch myself right now, like I said, thinking back where we were 1 year ago. So it's real good.
Any ill effects still bothering you from that near-fatal automobile accident?
Well, a little bit. We've coming off a long way here, especially the past 3-4 months. But my knee and ankle were really severely injured. They still give me a little bit of problem in the car, but they're probably 90% right now, so we can overcome that. We're going to get real good for in the off season, 100% for next year.
People aren't used to seeing you in the Bobar 12B. How did you land this ride?
Well, it was kind of strange. A week before they called me, I was saying, boy, I need to find a ride here. The funds are running a little short in my own car. And, you know, Alan quit to better himself and move on what he thought a little bit. And all of a sudden they called me. I couldn't believe it. So unfortunately, we haven't had a lot of good finishes yet, but it's a team with some real good potential, and I hope we do well Sunday. They're a good bunch of people.
The Romano family, they've been racing a long time, and right now this is their best ever Syracuse effort.
What a great story.
It is just a great story, and it is, Andy touched on it, a great family affair. There is a change for the lead as Plazek blows a tire. Yeah, tire, and it tore some sheet metal off. Oh boy, what a deal there.
See you later. Wow. Yeah. It's just amazing that Joe was able to keep that thing under control.
Yeah, and the force of that explosion tore the sheet metal off. Now that stuff is really tacked on there for this high-speed track, and to tear that sheet metal off was a lot of impact. And again, all that impact coming from the exploding tire. No contact with the wall, no contact with another car. There you see Joe headed towards pit road to the attention of his brother, who's the crew chief. This is a family affair. His mom and dad own the car. His wife is here selling souvenirs, and his brother is the crew chief.
And as I read, he's a hockey coach, huh?
Yeah, hockey player, as a matter of fact, in his younger days. Now he's got 5 kids, so he coaches the kids.
Look at how that's ripped away.
Yeah, that was really some force there. Dale Stroud, the engine builder on this particular car, Joe uses Kevin Ender's big block motors, but this is the Dale Stroud small block.
Here's a look at the tail end of the catastrophe, you could say, for Joe Plazek as he was leading the race, and now he is on pit row. Kept it under control.
He did. Again, as we mentioned a couple times, but it's worth reminding folks that this is just a race for practice. In this case of Joe, he is in the field for tomorrow's race.
10 laps in, and Billy Decker is now the leader. Kenny Tremont, Jeff Hetzler, Dickie Larkin, Jimmy Chester.
Chester, young driver out of Newfield, New Jersey, has shown so much promise here. Someday he's going to win one of these things. He runs both big blocks and small blocks.
We have the promise of great weather. I can't remember a Super Dirt Week where it looked like, from a weather standpoint, it's going to be such a piece of cake.
Yeah, we got to talk to these rush hour officials and get us some short sleeve shirts if they're going to give us sunny weather.
Well, we'd be all right if we didn't have to climb up and down the huge grandstand steps here.
Great exercise.
Yeah. You don't need a Stairmaster 365 days out of the year. Just climb these steps once a year. Here is green flag action once again at the New York State Fairgrounds.
Dickie Larkin in the white number 99, about to be run down by Chester in the black 44. That's the battle for position number 4. Todd Wilkerson runs back behind them in position number 6. There's Chester peeking on the inside. Can't quite make it happen. There he is again down on the bottom. Oh, so close, so close. Leader Decker has about a 15-car length advantage over Tremont, who runs in 2. Tremont has a 3-car length advantage over Hetzler. Then it's a ways back to the 4th place car of Larkin, and you can see the distance between Larkin and Chester, virtually none.
12 laps in. We are racing at the New York State Fairgrounds.
So Chester running in position number 5. Just behind him in the yellow car is Todd Wilkerson. Then it's the 33 1/3 of Tommy Meyer, the 23 of Chris Crispin, the 44D of Ralph Rue. That'll be your top 10 as we complete lap number 13.
Let's get a further update on today's racing from Andy Fusco.
Well, audio only right now because we got a little bit of camera trouble. Thanks, Doug. I'm here with Steve Payne, and now I think our camera is up and running. Steve, you got 2 5th-place cars in the big blocks, but first you got some problems with this mobile.
Yeah, we just run 3rd there early in the race and broke a right rear axle, so I think tomorrow that makes us last in the feature.
Now here's the axle right here. You can see exactly where it broke. Let's talk about the big block, though, for a moment for Sunday's 300. You've got 2 5th-place cars in the qualifiers. Looks like you got a choice.
Yeah, that should put us like 12th or 13th in the field tomorrow or Sunday, and you know, that's a good starting spot. It's a good place to stay out of trouble, and we just don't know which car we're going to run yet, but we got a couple of them that are real good, and we'll just have to wait and see.
You look awful dirty and gritty. Just what's it like out there?
It's dirty and gritty, but it's awful fast because of the weather so hot and sunny, and it's supposed to stay that way right through Sunday, so it's going to be a fast race, but you know, it's a long one, so anything can happen.
Steve Payne, he probably knows patience as well as anybody. Look for him to be strong on Sunday.
Absolutely. Good position to be in for Sunday's race.
Yeah, stay out of trouble. I think he's talking about the company that'll keep up front all seasoned veterans on the mile here. Steve's best finish in this race was a 2nd place finish a number of years ago.
5 laps to go in our 358 qualifier.
Well, with Plazik out, Decker has just run away here, and no contest for the lead. There you see Hetzler continuing to work on Tremont in a battle for the number 2 spot. Chester continues to work on Larkin for the number 4 position. Wilkerson all by himself back in 6. Meyer is in 7. Crispin is in 8. Van Doren is in 9. Ralph Rue runs 10. Mike Parati is 11. Running 12 is Todd Burley, the young driver out of Spencerport, New York, making his presence known here on the mile this afternoon.
And this is all a prelude to tomorrow's prolonged 200 for the 358 modifieds. The world's richest race on dirt comes Sunday with the Phase 300 and with another qualifier. Here is Andy Fusco.
Doug, Dave Camara, the strongest Vermont car in the race. He'll be starting in the top 20. You look pretty good out there.
Yeah, the car feels really good. We're still trying to fine-tune it. We've been chasing a vibration all week, so we really haven't got a lot of time in this car yet. But hopefully Sunday we'll get some more hot laps in. We'll get our stagger situation all taken care of. We'll be a lot better.
Okay, you're one of the younger drivers. How important is experience at Syracuse?
Experience is real important anywhere you go. I think Syracuse it's more important because of the time trial aspect. You know, some of these guys, Brett and Jack and Bob, when they roll in, they know exactly what they got to do to the cars and how the weather plays a role and what they have to do. But in the 300, I think the main thing is just try to stay out of trouble and just try to be around for the last pit stop and then race from there on.
One last question. You live right near Killington with this 80-degree weather. Are we ever going to get to ski this year?
Well, hopefully, maybe after Bridgeport we can head up to Killington for a while, but I don't think so for a while.
Doug, you're still going to have a chance to play some golf.
Yeah, why not? As soon as Super Dirt Week is over, don't want to miss any of the racing action. Kenny Tremont is second behind Billy Decker.
The white flag is out, and Tremont driving for the first time in a TO Pro car. His cousin, Dennis Tremont, bought the machine just a couple of weeks ago. That's a big, big change. They've run Troyer cars for a long, long time. So Tremont in a TO Pro car running in position number 2. They're racing to the checkered flag, Doug, and there is our leader, Billy Decker out of Franklin, New York. He leads into turn number 4.
Very strong out of turn 4 and down the front straightaway, and the winner is Billy Decker. Second place goes to Tremont, third to Jeff Hetzler.
Larkin will get 4th, finishing in the number 5 spot if he makes it. Oh, it's Wilkerson gets the 5th spot.
Chester, his engine was going a little sour there, huh?
Yeah, Chester finished in 6th. Tommy Meyer gets the number 7 spot.
All right, we have one race to go, and we'll try to bring it to you. Qualifier for the Prolong 200, which comes your way tomorrow. We're at Super Dirt Week 26 at the New York State Fairgrounds. There's your winner, Billy Decker. Back after this on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Super Dirt Week.
Qualifying day.
Making it to the pros takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like CarQuest brakes, professional technicians know that safe driving begins with good brakes. That's why they insist on the best CarQuest brakes, because safety counts. So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
Hi, I'm Bobby Labonte. On race day, we have a team of mechanics to keep our car running. Unfortunately, I can't get all these guys to follow me around when I drive my personal car. That's why I have an Easy Care vehicle service contract. It covers all major repairs on my car from the engine to the tires. Easy Care is the best service contract you can get, so make sure you ask your dealer for Easy Care protection for your car or truck.
It is perhaps our most impressive safety advance ever. A Volvo that can save your soul. Introducing the all-wheel drive cross-country from Volvo.
The Twin 20 qualifiers for the Prolong Super Lubricant 200 are brought to you by Hauser Brothers Mechanic Contractors, providing every manner of industrial and commercial plumbing, heating, and air conditioning facilities. Hauser Brothers specializes in custom fabrication. The customer always comes first with Hauser Brothers. And let's go down to Victory Lane, where our race winner, Billy Decker, is standing by.
Thanks, Doug. Well, it's no surprise when Billy Decker goes fast in that Pennzoil Chevrolet big block, but this is some surprise. He's really gotten this Ford small block going strong.
Yeah, I certainly do. Kevin Enders built us a super Ford motor here. The only problem is we're usually having trouble getting the car as good as the motor, you know, but the team is working really hard, and this is the best car I've had all week in both the big block and the small block. It's just coming at an opportune time for us.
Now, you've been out there a couple of times during today's broadcast. How is the track changing?
It's pretty tight. It was pretty tight pretty early, you know, but how it's changing is it's peeling up just a little bit, and it gets a little marbly and loose on the outside groove there, so it's getting tougher and tougher all day long.
One last question. Is that beard for hunting season, or are you about to go underground?
I just got tired of shaving, I guess. I don't know.
Good luck on Sunday.
So there, Andy Fusco. Billy Decker has, yep, he's got the winner hunting beard going, and he is the winner of race number 1.
Kenny Tremont, the runner-up. Jeff Hetzler gets 3. Dickie Larkin 4. Jerry Higbee, not Todd Wilkerson, is 5. Jimmy Chester comes home in number 6 position. Tommy Meyer, Chris Crispin. Craig Von Doren out of Pennsylvania gets the number 9 spot. Ralph Rue out of New Jersey. Then it's Todd Burley, Mike Perotti rounding out the top 12.
Unofficial results from the race number 1 of our twin 20s for the 358s.
A very important fact that just passed by me, and I thank Billy Decker for reminding us that that is a small block Ford that he's using. The SVO Ford program. And as he mentioned, Kevin Enders built this one. That's the 91 small block car, Ford powered.
Now look what's going on in the Kenny Tremont pits.
Yeah, they're changing a motor. This is the big block.
The big block, yeah. As we have our next race field on the track already into turn 3. And Brett Hearn is on the pole for this one. Steve Botcher is outside row 1.
Second row, Jimmy Horton, Danny Johnson.
Row 3, Kenny Brightville and Alan Johnson.
Row number 4 on the inside will be Jimmy Hauser. His family sponsoring these events. Jimmy Chanette out of East Shodak, New York is alongside.
Row 5, Tim Fuller and Doug Hoffman.
Row number 6 inside, but Crispin and Gary Tompkins will share that row.
On to row 7, Guy Sheldon and Tim McCready.
The 8th row inside will be Kevin Fetherly out of Messina, New York, and Billy Mullen from Ontario in car 3.
Griffin and Boisvert, row 9.
In the 10th row on the inside will be Todd Stone from Middlebury, Vermont, and Richie Vinson, second-generation driver out of Sanborn, is alongside.
Maynard Ferret and Dave Adams. Let's see how Maynard does out of row 11.
Dwayne Howard and Keith Hoffman share the 12th row.
And 13, Rick Mill and Andy Bachetti.
Row number 14, all by himself, Pat Ward. And Pat got this spot by virtue of finishing 3rd last night at Brewerton.
Time permitting, we'll bring you all 20 laps of this, our last qualifier of the day. You've seen 4. Some of these drivers have been awfully busy today.
Yeah, they're gritty, grimy, dirty. I think whatever it was that Andy talked about, some of them are going to have 4 races worth of grime and grit on their uniforms. And it all ought to stick because they're sweaty as well. Hearn in the small block has the number 20. Red and yellow car instead of red and white.
And we will see how this one fires off of turn 4. Here comes the field. Brett Hearn puts the pedal to the metal, and we're under green flag conditions. The last of our 20-lap qualifiers, and they're as many as 5 wide.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. A rush hour in downtown Syracuse, and they all got away with it. Troy Griffin wandering up on the outside there in that yellow car, but he got away as well.
Wow. And we have a little jingle out of turn 2.
Yeah, a little jingle involving 3 cars. Billy Mullen in the black number 3 was one of the cars. And after that, I couldn't tell you. Chris. Okay, that's Richie Vinson, new driver out of Sanborn, New York, in the number 93. Vinson in the 93. Mullen is in a black car down on the inside of the racetrack. Vincent pulling away. He's a regular at the Ransomville Speedway.
Like might be possibly Dwayne Howard. Is that right? Involved?
Yeah. Can't tell, but Kevin Kovac says it is. So Dwayne Howard in the red number 3, the black number 3, Bill Mullen from Iroquois, Ontario, was the 3rd car involved. So 2 cars number 3. Here we'll see what happened, maybe.
Well, you know, it's too much to ask for, getting through there too wide at that kind of speed. And remember, this peeled down from as many as 5 wide on the front straightaway. So they were cruising for a little bit of a bruising.
And there's a car that went all the way off down on the cinder track. We didn't catch that one earlier. That's Mullen.
Whoops.
And then up on the outside go Vinson and Dwayne Howard, the Grandview Speedway track champion for 1997. Grandview down in Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania.
Well, remember earlier in the telecast, Andy Fusco was right there in turn 2 telling us about some of the problems with the track that the drivers were going to have to overcome. And we don't know if that was a contributing factor because they were running fast in turn 1 and turn 2 abreast.
Somebody trying to win the race on the first lap is what that was all about. Somebody running in the middle of the pack, and they weren't going to win it on the first lap no matter what.
Let's head down to the pits where Andy Fusco is standing by with Kenny Tremont.
Thanks, Doug. And right now you're looking at Kenny Tremont's motor, a blowing motor. Kenny, what's happened to you today?
Well, I'm not really sure yet, but we've got some sort of oiling problem. You know, the first motor, we burned a set of rod bearings out of it, and this second motor, we ended up breaking the crank. So I'm not really sure. You know, they're probably related. It's something to do with the oil system.
Now, the first one, what, happened in practice earlier today? The second one was in the race?
That's it, exactly. We only went about a lap and a half in, you know, the first practice session and blew that motor, and then we changed it in time for the first heat, and then we went about half the race, and then we had trouble again.
Now, what is the game plan for getting this car in the show on Sunday?
Well, we've got to take both of these motors apart and see what we've got left. You know, we got basically see what's left to work with, and we're probably going to end up going home, and we've got some parts and pieces back there, and you know, hopefully we can make one good motor out of everything we've got.
Kenny Tremont and the team, they live down near Albany. That means there's going to be some throughway tolls between now and Sunday getting a motor for the 115.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. So much work to be done.
Yeah, and when you put all these used parts together, you heard Brett Hearn talking earlier about a lot of new parts, and that was the success that he attributed to one car going faster than the other. Well, they're going to, the Tremonts are going to patch together a bunch of old pieces now and try to put one good motor together. They do this by themselves. His dad, Ken Tremont Sr., is the car owner, engine builder. They do buy their chassis, but other than that, it's all by themselves. Hearn running an experimental Tony File built 358 in the number 20 for this one. The white flag is out, and Brett says it is super powerful. And he's shown it so far as he had opened up a comfortable advantage in the short time that we did have green flag racing.
We are under caution, and we've got about the length of a straightaway to go, and these cars will fire back up once again, and we'll get back underway.
Danny Johnson is 2. Hauser is 4. Jimmy Horton is 3rd. And they're on the gas.
Yep. Brett Hearn wrestles away the lead. Going out wide there in turn 3. Into turn 4 down the front straightaway. Barreling with the lead is Brett Hearn.
And Alan Johnson has moved around Jimmy Horton. Alan from the red number 14J, the Mike Maroney car, is now up to position 4, challenging Hauser for the number 3 position. So the Johnson brothers run 2 and 4 at the present time.
Hearn is the leader. Danny Johnson second. Hauser third. And there is Alan Johnson right on the back bumper.
Running back in the number 5 spot is Jimmy Horton. The battle for 6 is between Whiteville and Jimmy Chenette. Running 8 is Timmy McCready. Bud Chrisman is 9, and rounding out the top 10 right now is the 19 of Fuller.
Here's a look at Hauser and Alan Johnson. Hauser, of course, the 95 winner of the 358 Modified 200. Winner of the 96 Skoal Big Block race here. He's run only a handful of events this season due to some off-track problems he's had to handle, but he's running well here today.
Running well is Jimmy Chenette in car number 15, white car. One of the reasons he's running well is that Kenny Brightbill is helping him. As they came down the front straightaway last time, the Brightbill car was literally pushing Chenette. They were bumper to bumper, and Chenette held on somehow or other. Now as they race off into turn number 3, Chenette has opened up a little bit of an advantage. Here's a battle going on. That is the 19 of Fuller, the 18 of Chrisman. The red 18 is Guy Sheldon. The blue and white 18 is Bud Chrisman. Trying to keep this sorted out for you. Gary Tompkins is in that little battle as well with his number 84. But there you see Chrisman in the Brioski 18 trying to be run down by Guy Sheldon, and Dick Humphrey's Hot Rod Lincoln, a Ford-powered car, the red car with the yellow stripe down the side.
And we're going to head back to the pits for Andy Fusco. Andy?
Thanks, Doug. Now, Jeff, tell the national television audience exactly what you told me.
I said after running the 3 races, I'm ready for a beer. And, you know, the guys, they said to line up the golf cart. That'll make it 4.
Well, if you can find one in the pits here, get me one, too. You're going to start the big show on Sunday and 7th. You're going to start the big show on Saturday and 11th. You're going to get a lot of TV time the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, that's real good. It really helps the team. The TV coverage is the best thing for us. And national exposure brings sponsorship to us. It doesn't hurt, believe me.
What is different about Syracuse this year, or what do you think is the key to this year's shows?
Oh, the weather. 80 degrees every day, beautiful. The racetrack's in perfect shape, hard and fast, the way we like it. It's just a wonderful week in Syracuse, New York.
A lot of guys are looking loose coming out of 2 and 4. What do you attribute that to?
Well, right now, after all the running on it, all right, it's breaking up a little bit out of 2. They're hitting the sand on the inside and drawing that back into the track. But other than that, the holes we used to get here are not here, and it's a pretty good racetrack.
Jeff Hetzler, living large and looking happy.
Yeah, he wants more than new sponsorship and more sponsorship. He wants a job with the Chamber of Commerce here in Syracuse.
Well, you might get it. And talking about some national exposure, he got some in another form when his team was featured in Dick Bergman's Stock Car Racing magazine, a recent issue, where Bernie Smith, who owns this team, the whole team was profiled in a great story by Dick Bergman's magazine. So Hetzler getting some of the credit that he deserves, and some of his racing credits as he earned a track championship at Orange County this summer.
You know, even with a great car and a great crew, come Super Dirt Week in the Phase 300, you also needed brakes along the way. You know, he's due a break.
Speaking of brakes, we got one right there. That is Kenny Tremont, or Kenny Brightbill, excuse me. Brightbill broke something on the tabloid graphics car, the International Masonry sponsored automobile, and he heads behind pit wall. Timmy McCready currently running in the number 8 spot. The engine that they had hoped to bring here this weekend blew up on the dyno. I guess if it's going to blow up, it's better to blow up there than on the racetrack. But as a result, they're running the Saturday night special. McCready is doing well with it. This is Tim McCready. He's in position number 8 right now.
You race fans who are following the action here this afternoon, if you got the itch to see some racing tonight, Rolling Wheels Raceway Park, a 100-lapper qualifier for the Prolong 200. 4 cars will qualify out of that. 100 laps for the 358 modifieds, and it's at Rolling Wheels at Elbridge. Big night of racing.
Those cars racing last night at Bridgeport. They had over 60 cars there. Similar numbers expected tonight at Rolling Wheels, so it'll be a great show.
What a crowd last night at Brewerton.
How would you know? You were down at New Jersey doing what was that, football game for some team, right?
It was called a football game.
The score didn't sound like a football game.
50-3. Syracuse over Rutgers. But boy, I know that Harvey Fink was wearing a big smile at Brewerton last night with a huge crowd and outstanding racing. But that's what it's all about, the local tracks, putting on great shows. These are the guys you see competing.
That's right, this particular class. Harvey said it was his day in the sun, and it made their season. They did have a great crowd. I think it was 67 race cars showed up for the program.
We have 3 days in the sun. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday for this extravaganza of speed at Super Dirt Week, New York State Fairgrounds. There still are some tickets available. We hope you come on out. One of the neat features this year, 2 Jumbotron big screen TVs, so you can see all the action around this 1 mile, Moody Mile oval up close and personal.
Works better than the little monitors that they used to give us. We got a Jumbotron instead. The sun is shining brightly right now for Brett Hearn as he owns a comfortable advantage in this event. We've just completed lap number 12. He has a 15-car length advantage over Danny Johnson. Danny is running away and hiding from a great battle for 3rd. Jimmy Hauser has the position. The young driver out of Orangeburg, New York. But on his tail and been working him for the past several laps is Alan Johnson. I think Alan is faster, but he can't get around Hauser. Back at 5 is Jimmy Horton in the Bob and Michelle Faust car.
As for Alan Johnson, more success coming his way.
Yeah, he won the Skoal 358 championship just a couple of weeks ago, so that championship is locked up. We haven't talked about the Skoal championship, but of course, Sunday's race, the final race in that series, that was what we featured all summer long on our Rush Hour Live programs. But the final race in the Skoal Super Dirt Series will be here on Sunday. The top 5 drivers separated by 20 points.
And it's double points for the winner of that race, and so literally any one of those top 5 can win the series title by snatching that race.
Yeah, and literally, if the top 5 all had a problem early enough, the 6th place driver won the race, he could even win the championship. So it's a wide open affair. That's probably not going to happen, but it's certainly going to be interesting to watch it.
We have 6 laps to go. It's the 5th of our 20-lap qualifiers. We'll bring you live from Super Dirt Week in Syracuse. Boy, we look forward to seeing you out here, but if for some reason you're going to be shut in, can't make it, make sure you check your local listings. We will bring you all the great racing excitement this weekend.
5 laps to go. Danny Johnson is closing in ever so slightly. This could be Brett Hearn just backing out of it. We'll see what happens here in the final 4.5 laps now.
We have another report from the pits as we continue to watch the Hauser and Alan Johnson duel on the back straightaway. Let's go down to Andy Fusco.
Thanks. We'll talk to a lot of drivers who are in the show, but Timmy McCready isn't one of them. Here's crew chief Randy Kosacki. This is nail-biting time.
Yeah, it's been kind of a tough week for us, battling with trying to get 2 cars going and getting the show. The good thing, Tim's a guaranteed starter for the show based on the skull points, but of course we don't want to start in the back of the pack. It puts you in a tough position. The race has been won from there before, so we're certainly not out of it. We're hoping that we do get in on a regular qualifying spot, though.
This car's got the rainbow paint job with Jeff Gordon's name on it. What's the story there?
Yeah, we're sponsored by the Jeff Gordon Power Outlet Stores, which is a new franchise of stores that sell Toro power equipment, and we're real proud to carry the Rainbow Warrior colors.
McCready's their driver, Gordon's their sponsor. This team looks to be in pretty good shape, but right now they're not in the race yet.
Yeah, that is a powerful combination. 2 young hotshot drivers, one on dirt, one in the Winston Cup Series. One's making more money than the other, but McCready is doing just so very, very well here on the dirt circuit.
Brett Hearn in the number 20. He is your race leader. And right behind him, the number 6 of Danny Johnson. They finished 1 and 2 last night at Brewerton, the 3:58 100 lap.
Yeah, in this order. The battle for 3 continues. Hauser has it. Alan Johnson wants it. Jimmy Horton is closing in a little bit. He runs in position 5. We've got 2 laps to go. Jimmy Chenette is in position 6. 7 is McCready. 8 is Fuller. That's Doug Fuller. Guy Sheldon is next in line. Bud Chrisman. And rounding out the top 10 will be the 84 of Gary Tompkins, the Jimmer Stevers car.
There's Horton. Right behind Alan Johnson, who's right behind Hauser as they battle on the racetrack. And we're 1 lap to go. Hearn now into turn number 2, and Danny Johnson is reeling him in, but there might not be enough time.
There's traffic ahead, but they will not catch it.
Hearn out of turn 3 into turn 4. One more chance for Alan Johnson. He'll make a run, but he can't get it done. Down the front straightaway, the checkered flag is out. Brett Hearn is the winner, followed by Danny Johnson.
Here comes the battle for 3 down to the wire. It'll be Hauser getting this spot. Allen will finish in the number 4 spot. And then it's the M1 of Jimmy Horton. That's 5.
So Brett Hearn wins again. Add another $1,000 to Hearn's bank account, making it a grand total thus far, Super Dirt Week, of $13,500. Not bad at all for the corporate jet, Brett Hearn. And we got 5 races in.
That's right. 13,500, and all this is before we get to the world's richest dirt track race. $380-some thousand on the line on Sunday.
We're going to stay right here and take you down to Victory Lane, where Andy Fusco is getting in position. Brett Hearn is pulling up. This is his 2nd trip to Victory Lane today, and we'll have a chance to chat with the corporate jet before we wrap up our race coverage from the New York State Fairgrounds. And up pulls Brett Hearn, and the engine about to be shut off, and let's go down to Victory Lane and Andy Fusco. Andy?
Thanks, Doug. Well, I'm right here next to Brett Hearn. He's still running the motor in this car, and this crew is testing the tires to see exactly what the situation is here. I don't see any tire wear. The tire right here is pretty hot, though, but no wear. As you all know, at Syracuse, they go with extra hard rubber harder than they run anywhere on a Saturday night. It's an extra hard Hoosier compound just for this mile track. And of course, it really gets the job done. Brett, you're in Victory Lane again.
Victory Lane right there.
I'm sorry.
You're in Victory Lane again.
Well, you know, this car's been really good all week long, and you know, they turned a wheel yesterday. Turned a wheel yesterday for the first time, and I expected that we would be okay in open air. I'll tell you that the track is very treacherous, though, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough in traffic. I was lucky I didn't have to deal with any of that.
Yeah, what is it about the cinders and the grit and the dust? We're really not used to seeing that at Syracuse.
I think it's got to be a combination of the temperature. It's unusually warm, and the cinders are very dry. In the middle of the groove, it's starting to tear up a little bit. Hopefully, they'll do a little work on the track tonight when it cools off, and get that thing a little bit better, because right now it's pretty treacherous out there.
We've talked a lot today about big blocks and small blocks. Obviously, big blocks are big engines, small blocks are smaller engines. Do the cars drive differently?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you get out of a big block and get into one of these, it's got 250, 300 less horsepower. It's a whole different ball of wax, and it's kind of easier to drive in some ways, but in some ways you've got to be on the mat so long with this thing, it's a little bit harder to drive. So it takes some getting used to. But once you get out of the big block, this does seem a lot slower.
The big block drivers who drop down into the small block races like Syracuse and take the cash, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we do this for a living, so we got to go where the money is, and if they let us do it, we got to be here.
Indeed, it's just like in the Winston Cup days when the Busch cars are invaded on Saturday by the top Winston Cup stars. So is true here in dirt, and Brett Hearn's a pretty good example of a big block guy who can get the job done in the small block as well, guys.
Yeah, I should say, Andy, three-time winner of Super Dirt Week's 358 modified event. Last time he won it was 1990. He'll be gunning for it again tomorrow. Brett Hearn, your race winner. Danny Johnson, Jimmy Hauser, Alan Johnson, Jimmy Horton, and Jimmy Chenette, the top 6.
Timmy McCready comes home in 7th. Tim Fuller is 8. Guy Sheldon in his Hot Rod Lincoln 9. Bud Chrisman in the Briowski car finishes 10. Dave Heaslip and Elaine Bavere running out the top 12.
Yeah, in the background there, you're seeing some of the pits, but also seeing the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of campers on hand. Great racing fans who circle this weekend on the calendar and really gear their whole year around Super Dirt Week. And many of these fans will be heading up to Rolling Wheels Raceway Park tonight for that 100-lap 358 race.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a great race up there. It's always been a great part of Super Dirt Week. Again, in those campers and things are tents around the fairgrounds, there are over 25,000 people here that checked in on Tuesday morning. 25,000.
Back down to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Thanks, Doug. I'm here with a guy who's probably got the prettiest car in the field, but not the fastest car. Dickie Larkin, you're having trouble.
Yeah, we've been struggling all week. I got a new teal car here. I never drove one before, and we just can't get it hooked up to the track. We got up to qualified position and then started picking up a push again, so we're kind of lost at the moment.
Right now, the car is all apart. All the wheels are off it. What's the crew doing?
We're going to go right through it again and replace everything again and see if we can put our finger on what's going wrong here, because we sure have tried hard all week.
Dickie Larkin's team going to spend a couple of sleepless nights here getting ready for Sunday. Good luck with that. Somebody who's all ready for Sunday is a Winston Cup veteran, Jimmy Horton. You're looking pretty good out there in the number 1.
We're okay. It took a while to get some new cars, the feel for a bunch of new cars we brought here. And, I wasn't real smart. All 3 of them are different, and it's different feel in each one. And it's been a while getting them where we want them. And I think today we got them to where we need to get them. We just got to sharpen up the small block a little bit. We had a little bit of carburetor problem on the restart and just dropped us back. But, I feel we're going to be real sharp in the race.
Let's talk about State of the Union 1997 for Jimmy Horton. Where are you at as far as your career? Where are you going to be in another couple of years? How happy are you? And are you glad to be back at Syracuse? Would you like to be someplace else? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're always glad to be at Syracuse. I set goals when I was real young. I'd like to be Winston Cup racing. That's still my goal right now. We've been pursuing some truck efforts, some Busch efforts, and we're still keeping in contact with guys down south, and hopefully that's my goal, to get back down there, but we want to, while we're up here racing, we want to be on top, and that's what I'm trying to make. Bob and Michelle Faust, being a General Machine car, we're trying to put them on top, and that's what we've been trying to do all year.
The fact that you do have a lot of super speedway experience and that the mile track here at Syracuse is the only mile that these guys in dirt run, does that give you an edge?
Yes and no. It's probably, the hype of it, I would say, hurts more than somebody who don't come here. Like if you go to Winston Cup race, you do it each and every week, so it's no big deal to be somewhere for a week. So that end of it, different. And for me, it's just like another race where everybody else thinks, they got to be over prepared, and that's what I think I've done early in my career. I was over prepared for the race and would always miss something. But as far as once we're out there with our helmets on, it's the same deal.
Jimmy Horton, one of the best drivers in dirt history. His place in the Hall of Fame is sealed. Don't be surprised if he's sitting in victory lane on Sunday. Back up to you guys.
Well, we'll look forward to it. If he sits in victory lane come Sunday, then that Skull Series is likely to be his.
I would say that would be the case. He certainly has a crack at it. He's been in victory lane here on 2 prior occasions.
Great day of racing here under brilliant conditions at the New York State Fairgrounds. We'll be back to wrap things up. Super Dirt Week 26 from Syracuse continues on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Super Dirt Week.
By Eckerd. It's right at Eckerd. Prolonged Super Lubricants. Hauser Brothers Mechanical Contractor. Bob Hilbert Sportswear. Easy Care Extended Service Contracts. Budweiser, the king of beer. Brioski, the official antacid of dirt. Hoosier Racing Tires. Sunoco A+ Mini Markets. And by CarQuest Auto Parts. Welcome to the pros, CarQuest.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery, and let's head back down to the pits and Andy Fusco. Andy?
Danny Johnson, this is Syracuse. You're supposed to keep the car straight. Didn't anyone tell you that? You were sideways all afternoon.
Yeah, we burned our tires up. We're just trying to get the car going around fast, and we gave it our best shot. We ran real well today, and I'm looking forward to Sunday.
A couple of times you've come real close on Sunday in the 300 and fallen short. What do you do to win this year?
Well, we're going to try and, like you said, keep the car straight, keep it in one piece, and try and get by all them fast runners that are up front.
Thanks, Danny. Danny Johnson's game plan is set, but so for Stevie Botcher. Stevie, you're going to be in the last chance Consi on Sunday. It's not where you want to be after that wreck today.
No, it's not at all. Went in a little high into the first turn and got up into loose stuff and touched the wall. And up here, you just touch a little bit, and it kind of puts you out. And, really feel sorry for Paul Zellers. He put a good deal together here, but hopefully we can come through in that last chance race.
You'll be in the last chance race on Sunday. Good luck. Hope to see you then. Back up to you guys upstairs.
Thank you very much, Andy. Well, we're looking forward to Sunday's Phase 300, and Brett Hearn will be on the pole with Joe Plozek outside of row 1.
Bob McCready and Billy Decker will share row number 2. Then it's Kenny Fremont and Jack Johnson.
All right, the next 6, let's take a look. Jeff Hetzler, Jimmy Horton, Kenny Brightville, Randy Sherlock, A.J. Romano, and Steve Payne.
Starting 13th on Sunday will be Alan Johnson. Danny Johnson will be alongside, so it's the brothers, and it's Gil Tegg, Pete McNell, Mike Perotti, Jimmy Hauser.
That's the top 18. Then it's Dave Camara, Chris Moore, Bud Chrisman, Todd Stone, Lou Blaney, and Greg Van Doren.
Back in row 25, position 25 was Patty Abel and Scotty Prentice. Then it's Jimmy Chester, Doug Hoffman, the defending champion, way back in 28th, but he started last year and won. Last year and won.
And it's Richie Tobias, Dale Plank, Tim Fuller, Tim McCready, Ryan Turner, and Donnie Corellis. And folks, if you want to come out and catch all the action, tomorrow, of course, the Prolonged 200 for the 358s, or Sunday for the Phase 300. There are tickets available here at the New York State Fairgrounds. A promise of great weather. You're going to enjoy the racing. A lot of action here at the New York State Fairgrounds. For Gary Montgomery, Doug Logan saying thank you for joining us, and so long for now. We'll see you tomorrow from Super Dirt Week 26. The executive producer of Rush Hour on Dirt is Glenn Donnelly. Rush Hour is a production of Dirt Motorsports and a presentation of the Dirt Motorsports Television Network.